Okay, welcome back to support commentary featuring Mordoom Hard. I'll be covering all three supports. Let's dive into Mordoom Gate 1. So this gate is just like a story dungeon that went wrong. So there's a lot of cinematic stuff. It looks very cool at first, but it's probably their worst designed Gate 1 in terms of game feel. It's just a lot of pushes and process, and it's very hard to optimize in this gate. I'll provide some tips on playing support as much as I can, but in the end, this is a gate where you just want to skip as fast as possible to get to the next ones. So even if you can't optimize too well on this gate, don't bother with it. The perspective being drawn out in the middle of the fight is really annoying. But yeah, on Bard though, let's start with Bard. So usually we'll be taking Potion, Dark Bomb. Some people say Whirlwind Bomb, but in the end though, this gate, there's things that look like stagger checks, but they're not really. It's more about dodging. It's about not getting hit. And if you do the stagger, especially at the first part, too fast, then it's less damage window. So you actually don't want to stagger too fast. As long as you don't get hit raid-wide, you won't have an issue with stagger checks. The only reason you're failing the stagger checks is if people in your group get hit too much. Now on Bard, it's very important to take Rhapsody. There's a lot of super save angles you can do here. No need to take Buckshot. I take Sound Shock here, but that's my preference. You don't need to. And on this Bard run, I'm on a high Swift setup, so I'm 1500, 1000. Okay. At the beginning, Heavenly Tune, into Identity buff, T-skill used. And now you're waiting for him to switch his aggro position. So you always want to be at the back because he will lance in the front. And that's a push, which makes it impossible to do the subsequent Just Guard mech. So notice at the beginning, full buffs in. People will be doing damage, and they'll just stop momentarily for the Just Guard. Otherwise, this is a nice damage window. You can also provide Guardian Tune / shields in case someone messes up the Just Guards for that. And in this group, we're really strong, so we just phase immediately into his stun. Now, what to do here is if you are the aggro, then you want to run away from him as much as possible, and then you want to do vertical movement. You run sideways compared to where he's facing. In this case, nobody's hit, but if somebody did get hit, I'll probably show this on a run on another support. You can either super save using Rhapsody, or you control the aggro such that it doesn't land on the person who's stunned. Now, for this part, focus on dodging first. Don't get hit by these. You should know how to expect them. The position is random, but you should know that they happen. And then always take note of where the first lines were. That is your safe spot. If there's a line at the end that happens underneath you, you dodge it slightly, and then you go back to the initial safe line. And then at the end, you dodge out. This is a very nice damage window. You get like 8 seconds damage with this stagger check and the time during which he's neutralized before the telegraphs are dealt here. So this is dodge time. Don't do anything. And then after the 4 sets are done, then it's damage window. The important thing here is to keep dodging, of course. If you get hit, you get debuffs that lower your stagger, and then you get silenced and all, which makes it very difficult to deal with the stagger check. But your goal here is to actually drop him down to 210 as much as possible so that you don't have to deal with the dragon phase as much afterwards. In this case, we do the stagger way too fast. You can... DPS can dish in 1 skill before you get transported. So usually I'll try to use attack buff and reapply branding here for that one skill. Here, if you have Awakening available, you want to use it because it just makes things really convenient. Otherwise, if you don't have Awakening available because it's on cooldown, then you can use your other shielding skills to protect allies because these telegraphs hurt a lot here. The moment to use Awakening is when the dragon, as you can see, starts turning, starts moving. So this is the moment when you want to use Awakening. And if you do that, you can pretty much shield everyone throughout the telegraphs, even if they are taken into the air. Doesn't matter. Just in case people fail Just Guard, you might want to shield them here too. Just Guard. And then here's an important trick on supports. So what I do is I'll just tank it at the very center of where he's appearing. So I'll be inside him. What this allows me to do is dodge most of his patterns, and it puts me in a very good position to provide buffs and care as long as I can maintain center position. It's kind of hard like this. But if I'd use Push Immunity, I'd still be stuck inside him, and that would be very nice. It's very nice on Paladin, especially because if you're at the center, everyone gets Holy Aura, regardless of which position from which they're attacking. Again, tank it like this, you don't have to. Now here, it's not a damage window here. When he stomps the second time, it's co-op counter. And still not damage window. It's pretty much when people are... when you see hidden Carmine, then it's damage window, and then you can use buffs. On board, it's kind of rough, because a 3 bubble is kind of heavy to use here. You don't have to, like, commit to using 3 bubbles here, especially because... as you can see, you can't go outside and do damage because of the poop outside. So it's only head attackers and hitmasters that can do damage. If you have back attackers in the party, they can't properly benefit from this damage window. Once the poop disappears, though, and the screen falls, like the zoom out happens, then you have a bit of a damage window, but it's not too important, I'd say, to... if you can full buff it, do it, but you don't have to force yourself to. You can use paralysis to not get pushed back and pulled in here. Like, for instance, I could have used Rhapsody there and gotten a bit of gauge there. Could use Winner Music into Guardian Tune and such. It's not too important. I mean, I do have the Standing Striker thing, so it's best if I don't get paralyzed. But Skate 1. Here, you have DPS do have a up to 7 seconds of damage window, but not a lot of DPSs choose to benefit from that because yeah, like accidents like this can happen. Nowadays it's becoming a bit more common, I'd say, because we have res. Like beforehand, if this sort of accident happens, then you have to continue the entire gate without that DPS, so like you wouldn't take those chances. You wouldn't risk it. But yeah, basically though, if that person had just gone up there and this person had not hesitated, it would be fine. Some DPSs choose to do damage before they have to move out to get CC'd and deal with the Just Guard. In this case, even if you fail it doesn't matter as long as other people deal with the stagger / counter that happens afterwards. One good thing to do here on board is if you provide Guardian Tune here, then the CC that happens afterwards, people don't have to deal with it. They can do like a 2-3 second, they can benefit from that 2-3 second damage window there. Another process happens, so in this case, I use Winner Music to parry it. At the start, you'll see these telegraphs. I think they fixed it, but initially the telegraphs did not Like the AoE did not match the visuals, so even if you thought you were sitting in a safe spot, you would end up getting hit. So usually people will just try to tank it, like space barring inside or using a push immune skill, which is why on Bard you do want to provide shielding either through Rhapsody or Guardian Tune Winter Music during that. And now the fight continues. This round and round thing, you want to definitely process immune. So in this case, for instance, I'll probably use Winter Music. And then I spacebar as well. Heavenly Tune into Brand. Always remember when you're using Awakening, you have to renew attack buff and Brand. Make sure that it lasts throughout your Awakening. And then remember to reapply it after the Awakening is done. I move out for the backflip. Heavenly Tune. Slightly move sideways to avoid the sword strikes. And I move out because it's going to be an explosion. There's not really a good damage window for most classes to like reapplying branding and all. Isn't too important. Like class like Gunlancer can definitely do damage through it, but most classes have a difficult time because these streams that happen, they knock you. Now dodge. And yeah, the zoom out perspective is really bad for optimizing things. Makes you miss skill shots that you otherwise wouldn't. 3 bubble. Full buff when he reappears. Now he dashes, right, which means he's going to do the stun attack. So you want to move outwards. He dashes a long distance, which allows you to gain distance from him as well. In this case, I think Azakiel was applied, so I didn't need to mind too much about the push immunity. But you do want to either move really far away or you tank it using push immunity either from Sonic Vibration or Rhapsody and such. And then the last 2 strikes, you want to avoid using vertical movement. So, like in this case, see how it's vertical like this? This allows you to not get hit by the stun. So move away and vertical. Especially if you're the target. The distance for that stun is way like further than you think it is. In this case, like back is safe. Double Just Guard is a very nice damage window. In this case, you don't need to save Awakening for much. And then he just goes away like that. Once you have a lot of experience on this gate, you can kind of get a feel for when he's moving away. I think it's line mix, but it's kind of hard to tell. Never really bothered with gate 1. Learning it, it's not worth it. I slightly move out to use Heavenly Tune because that Dragon Breath, you don't have to like move out. You just tank it. It doesn't do too much damage, but it does inflict paralysis. So whenever you're casting Heavenly Tune, for instance, you need to be careful. I'm waiting for him to land. Dodge everything. Deal with the counter first. And then apply buffs. And he's going to go away because it's under 50. He chooses to give... Sometimes he gives us an extra pattern, but usually he just goes away right away. Well, it's, I guess, half and half. And yeah, another push-pull. Can't really do damage here. The perspective is really bad. The point of view. Now you get like a 5-second damage window here, and you have to dodge the red telegraphs at the bottom. They push you. Like just provide minor attack buff branding. Even if you get caught here, it doesn't really matter. One thing to note is that if you're in the fog, all shields just disintegrate immediately. Like, see, I'm trying to provide Rhapsody to the Gunlancer, but his shield just disappears immediately while he's standing in the fog. Don't mind too much about shielding people. I mean, inside here, it's fine. And then one good tip is at the end, there's going to be a dragon that appears in the fog on top, in the middle. If you it aggro's on the closest person. So if you go upwards, close to him, you get the aggro, and then you lead it topside. He'll do the attack topside, and so your party mates will be free from that attack. They don't have to deal with it at all. It's something nice you can do. It's not important, but it makes you look cool, right? One thing to note is that throughout this entire gate, apart from the hidden Carmine, just keep using Ezekiel. So you'll use Ezekiel once during the encounter, the second encounter with Daemine, between like 150 and 50. Use it once, 3+1, and then use it against 3+1 when he lands, when the dragon lands. Basically, you can use it. You can use Ezekiel when the Just Guard happens. Like here, right here. So you can use Ezekiel as soon as the Just Guard appears, if you're the raid lead. And then people benefit from it during the fight. The reason why Ezekiel is better than Thyrane or Carmine is because he provides you with push immunity. And yes, this dragon is really annoying because all his attacks are just push, process, and all. It's really annoying to deal with, so really just use Ezekiel. And so basically, when this dragon encounter starts, you can buff, attack buff, 3 bubble, T skill into Hyper Awakening, and then reapply attack buff and branding. Of course, this group is pushing really fast, so we started at 26, but usually when you're progging and all, you'll start at 50 bars. Full, so it will be a longer fight here. Make sure to all around the map. Oh, and as far as engravings go, Awakening Expert, Magic Stream Core, right? And then when you're progging, you can use Crisis Evasion, Heavy Armor, and such. Vital Point is not really needed, although you can take it. I don't know if you guys will have Res or not on the first week. If you don't have Res, Crisis Evasion is a really good choice, because you just don't want to die on support, do you? Gate 1 for artists. Throughout this entire act, I don't change my skills on artists at all. Basically, this skill set works. You can always take Sprinkle instead of Tiger if you feel like it, but yeah, this skill set works for me. Engraving wise, Heavy Armor, Crisis, Vital Point are all great. Drops of Ether if you think you can manage. Stacking up Luminary and Magic Stream. And then we go into it. So attack buff, branding, identity buff go in. Since I had used Sunsketch before entering the raid. And then I find back position. So once the aggro locks, you always want to stand in the back. And watch out for all his push process patterns. He does the dash, so I just move out. I'm not the aggro, so I just go to the back. And then dodge the telegraphs. Someone got hit there, so watch what I do here. See that? So what happened there is that the Gunlancer on the left got hit by the stun. So that guarantees that Thaemon is going to do a short dash. And he's going to do the gate 4 pattern. Right, the big slash. But the aggro is determined by whoever is closest to him. So in this case, I spacebar towards him. And so I draw the aggro, knowing that the Gunlancer is on the left. And so the Gunlancer doesn't need protection at all. He's safe, because the slash is going to happen over here. And then I go out of the aggro zone. That's one way to deal with the stun pattern in case someone gets hit. So you want to be careful when you're getting close to Daemon. You want to make sure that the aggro is directed towards where your stunned party mates are not. And if the aggro trick doesn't work because maybe there's like a DPS who just goes in to do damage, then you want to protect people if they are on your party using Starry Night and such. Double Just Guard, good damage window. And then he phases a strong DPS group. So when your DPS is not this strong, or your group is not as experienced, then you will see more patterns here before the stagger mech happens. So you always want to check safe zone first. This is safe zone, red safe zone. And then once you've checked it, then you can do dish out a few skills because you know where you're going. Dodge the last one, and then go to safe position, and then get out on the last explosion. And then good damage window, so I use one bubble there. And then think about dodging. So this is not a damage window. This is not a damage window. Not a damage window. And now it is a damage window. Once the 4 telegraphs happened and the first Daemon clone appears from there on, it's all about dodging and doing damage. You want to do as much damage so you can push him down to as close to 210 as possible. And again, if you're failing this part, it's because people get hit. It's not because you're lacking stagger. It's because people get hit. In this case, we're waiting because I think someone went inside and we're checking if everyone made it out alive. Yeah, and now we're finishing it because now we're sure. Because if there's someone on the other side because they got hit by one of the Daemon clones and such, they need to make it out. So sometimes we deliberately stop doing damage to not deplete the stagger bar. You can fit in one skill here, so I land that attack buff in case people want to benefit from that one skill damage. And I do have Awakening available, so I'll use it when the dragon starts turning. Or waiting. And in the meanwhile, of course, you're maintaining Luminary, Magic Stream. So when the dragon starts turning there, when the dragon starts turning, that's when you cast Awakening. And that just makes this part really free. Of course, if you don't have Awakening, then you rely on Starry Night, Hopper, and such. Sun Sketch for the DR. Door of Illusion. You don't have to save your Awakening for this, but it just makes it really convenient. And then here again, I'm going to tank it in the center. Starry Night. Identity buff applies branding to T skill. Spacebar to not get pushed there. I'm trying to get inside as much as possible to the center. That allows me to have a good angle for buffing people, especially with Sunwell. And to protect them, push immune, because these red telegraphs push you. So I used the counter for that. I'll just tank it in the center probably. Yeah, Starry Night. You don't have to. Now just minor buffs applied. One heal ball for good measure. Co-op happens. And then you always want to watch your feet first. Watch your feet. Just make sure you don't have the poop. And then once you see Hidden Carmine, you go all in. On artists, since the weight on bubbles is not as heavy, you can just dish out identity buffs like that. On Bard, you might want to think twice, of course. Because not everyone can benefit from that damage window properly. They make space for me, nice. And then I use one skill before I get CC'd so that it renews the luminary effect. G. And watch where the aggro is. It's kind of hard to dodge that one. Even if you get grabbed, it doesn't really matter. Just trust your team, right? I get CC there. I should have spacebarred it or moved out entirely. But it doesn't really matter because there's no repercussions for getting stunned there. Sunwell. So the attack buff is in. I'm just going to use identity buff and Starry Night for the push, for that explosion. Hop in for the process immune. So that pattern there is push, right? Push. So I use Sun Sketch to negate the push. I get paralyzed. And then move out, move in. You want to know what pushes you and what paralyzes you. And try to abuse your push and process immunity. In this case as well, I used Sunwell to not get paralyzed. It knocks you really back, like far. See, he dashes really far, and then he's gonna aggro on someone. If you think you're the aggro, just move really far, and then just sidestep. So I'm just doing vertical movement relative to where he's looking. T-skill attack buff all in. I use my stimulant. Placing a heal ball, I think. Is that right? Heal ball into stimulant into identity buff, yep. There's not like a great damage window. I should have used Sunsketch before I went in to do Starry Night, but yeah, it's like whatever. Nobody's doing damage here anyways. Sunsketch for the DR in case they get grabbed. And so that they can start doing damage immediately with the buff. Don't use Styrene like that, use a Zakiel. For the love of God. See all these people getting knocked all over the place? If we had used a Zakiel, that would not have happened. This fight is about skipping it with relatively no stress. It's a really annoying fight. A lot of push. Mirror pattern. This one is just really weird. Just like trust your party to do start. Like, so what happens here is that the mirror will get bigger and bigger, but whoever's in this area will get knocked. If you're the aggro, though, he'll keep looking at you and keep knocking you, so you have to wait until the party mates go to the other side of the mirror, behind Thamine, and do the stagger. And there's nothing you can do, because he'll just keep looking at you. If you are the aggro, just lock aggro, just stand in position, just keep getting knocked, basically. We're stacking up. So, again, if you haven't studied for this, you always take note of where the direction in which he disappears. So he disappeared this way. So someone pings that direction, right? So we're waiting. When you see the yellow telegraph, you look in that direction, you point that mouse cursor towards that direction, and just guard. Someone did get grabbed. 2 people got grabbed. So now we're waiting for that counter. Counter. That frees them up. And then you do damage again. Just guard, double just guard. Nice damage window. You don't have to do the just guard there. Round and round. Eat it up with process immunity. And he disappeared. So now he's going to do the jump strike counter. You want to dodge everything. If you get knocked by one of them, you might take consequent. You might keep getting knocked in the air. It's like a trampoline. You want to dodge everything and then wait. Preferably, you save your spacebar, right? So you dodge all these things while also maintaining Luminary, by the way. If you want to fit in like one skill once in a while. Try to save your spacebar for the jump strike because you want a spacebar in. Usually his direction will be outwards, not inwards. So it's going to be somewhere here, right? So if you save spacebar, you can just spacebar in and then do counter. And again, you have a bit of a damage window. He's now under 50 bars. He's going to disappear. I don't think I took mana food. Huh. Wait, did we use Star Rain again? Oh no. Now we're waiting for the cinematic. And then just 5-second damage window. Push immune the red telegraphs. So you just buff it a bit. That you can do damage a bit. It's not a great damage window though. Dodge the dragon attacks. Dodge the telegraphs. The fog removes any shielding, so you don't want to walk outside into the fog. And then you can draw aggro like that if you're close to the dragon. So I lead it top side so that people don't have to deal with that pattern at all. Status immune. Starry Night. I'm in the center of the boss. But I get knocked out because I don't have a Zakiel. So here's the problem if you don't have a Zakiel here. You just keep getting knocked all over the place. You get knocked into the fog. You keep taking damage. Just like look at all this push that happens. So yeah, if you don't want to deal with this, just use a Zakiel. Thyrane is very easy to miss throughout this entire gate, and the damage you get from Thyrane is not as worth as the push immunity from Azakiel, I'd say. Gate 1, Paladin. Let's see, whether you take 2 blue or 1 blue, doesn't matter. Engravings, Heavy Armor Crisis for safety, drops, Vital Point, I don't know, doesn't matter. Let's dive into it. Card set is LOS, of course. Cliff. So we go in, Heavenly Blessing, Identity buff, T-skill applied, so all the buffs go in. And then you go to his backside. I use Godsuki just in case they fail, but you don't have to. Double Just Guard, great damage window. Keep that uptime. He's starting that stun pattern, so I cancel my Identity buff immediately. It's not a damage window. And so, looks like he's aggroed somewhere. It's either me or him. Anyways, I walk back, and then I sidestep once the aggro is kind of locked. And then let's see. So this guy is stunned, so he's going to do that small dash into the big slash. Let's see where he aggros to. So in this case, the people over here managed to aggro. I think it was the Gunlancer. And so this person does not need any care. So always try to lock the aggro by standing close to him in the opposite direction from where people got stunned are. Round and round. I should have process immune that. So as you can see, it knocks you back really far. So you don't want to get knocked like that, especially because it can cancel some of the skills you do. And if you have standing striker, just don't want to get process. I do take 1 hit. That is bad. Attack buff. And I go to my safe spot. So always watch out for the initial safe spot. So it's here. If you decided to go there, commit to it, dodge the first one, stand on the safe tile, and then move out at the end. And great damage window here until the telegraphs start happening, so I send full buffs. Dodge, dodge, and then dodge, dodge, and then clone. Go away from the clone. Another clone. Use Awakening. That was kind of dangerous because I could have gotten hit by the Demon clones. Identity buff renewed. Now you managed to finish the stagger. It's at 230 though, so we'll have to deal with the dragon phase a bit. We did the stagger too fast. I think it's also because they nerfed it, the stagger, the required amount of stagger. It would have taken a bit longer pre-nerf. So in this case, I don't have Awakening. So I'll have to rely on Holy Protection and God's Decree, but we also have... Do we have a Gun Lancer? Oh yeah, we do have a Gun Lancer, so you can provide Nella as well. It's backup. So these telegraphs do a lot of damage, so you do want to protect teammates. It's kind of awkward to dodge everything. You want to provide as much care as possible. Just guard. Attack buff. And I use God's Decree to tank it. I gather a bit of gauge. And I use identity buff. So the great part about standing in the dead center like that is that if you're using Holy Aura on Paladin, it applies to everyone. Like this. You don't have to change your positioning. You can just keep maintaining position in the center while using push immunity to maintain position and not get knocked. And now he's under 210, so he's gonna go away. You want to use process immunity to when he roars like that. In this case, I use God's Decree. Because in this case, I do have a Standing Striker. Mana Forge recommended, of course. You use Awakening. Ramping up that identity for the hidden Carmine damage window. Attack buff. You don't need to like focus too much on buffing here because it's not a damage window really. Or waiting. Always watch for underneath you, whether you have poop. Go inside and do counter. And then watch poop. I do have it, so I go land. After second one, I go buff. It's more important to poop properly. Than to try to like focus too hard on buffing. So I try to use in this case Light Shock into Light of Judgment into Blue Skill provides 3 series of Process Immune, which allows me to not get paralyzed, so I maintain that Standing Striker there. Or you can just use God's Decree if you have that. Keep using skills until the very end, so that you can maintain Luminary while you're CC locked. Just guard, renew Luminary, attack buff branding. Short identity, like damage window, especially if someone gets caught like that, because you have to do the stagger and counter if you fail the stagger. Spacebar, and then I use Holy Protection in case someone got caught there. Not sure if someone got CC'd. Let's see. I think, yeah, maybe this guy got. Or maybe, I'm not sure. Anyways, just in case. You don't have to, by the way. Even if you get CC'd there, it doesn't matter. Use Sound Shock into God's Decree for process immunity to cancel that roar process. And then Theomine appears. Branding, renewed. Holy Protection. I see the Gun Lancer Awakening, so I don't need to do push immunity there. Makes it really convenient. Attack buff, branding renewed. Brand. Oh, and I have Light Shock, but of course you don't need to use Light Shock. It's just my preference. Attack buff slightly late because of that process from the Just Guard. Key skill. And I use God's Decree to cancel that process from the round and round pattern. And then back safe whenever he launches like that. He's doing the stun move, so move out, move out, move out, sideways movement, and then dodge the red telegraph. We got that Ezekiel, so we just chilling, doing damage. I think I missed that light shock there. It's very difficult during this phase in general because of the zoomed out perspective, landing skill shots. It's more difficult than usual. We get that Ezekiel renewed. Maintain Luminary during this. So I'm spamming Light Shock and such. Attack buff. Identity buff. Whenever you're fighting him in the outskirts, be careful, because that fog does a lot of damage. I think that fog also strips you from shields. I'm using God's Decree again to negate the round and round process. Because if you get knocked by that when you're fighting him in the extremities like that, you might get pushed into the fog. Apart from also canceling skills that don't have process immunity. I was slightly away from him so I didn't get knocked by the push when he does that backflip. Lands forwards. Slightly away. I didn't get hit, did I? Yeah. Yeah, so he moved away this way. So that's where we're gonna just guard. So we're waiting. Unfortunately, that strips away my magic stream and such, so I have to ramp it up again. Mirror mech. I'm not the aggro, so I go behind and try to do stagger. They definitely nerfed that. That used to be way more difficult to deal with. Spacebar in to not get process pushed back. Knocked away. Double just guard, great damage window. You just keep buffing from the side without having to deal with the just guards. And he moved away, so now we're waiting. Dodge, 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 dodge. And then deal with the counter. A bit of a damage window. He's under 50, so he's going to move away. He chooses to give us an extra damage window there. So I just use identity buff. I can cancel it now. I should have canceled it because you can't do anything much here. Anyways. Now we're just dodging. Not much to say here. You're gonna get grabbed. It's okay. And see how that fog strips away my shield like that? So shields, I see. So that person and I were thinking the same thing. So if you're close to the dragon that appears at the top, you get the aggro. So if you move into the fog like that, you can lead the aggro away from your teammates. This person does get knocked though. If you go all the way, then everyone's safe. But if it's like vertical like that, then someone might get hit by the side slash. We get a Ezekiel. Kind of late, so I do push immune the first hit. Ideally, I would be standing in the center, having tanked it with God's Decree or Identity Buff proc. Since we have a Zakiel, it's fine. And he just dies there. So without a Zakiel buff, it makes the fight really, really easy to deal with. Just use a Zakiel. Let's go into Gate 2. Bard, you can basically bring the same skill set as you used in Gate 1. Battle items, potion, dark bomb, stimulant are fixed. And then for the third one, for the fourth one, you can use the battle item, the new battle item, exclusive for this gate, but you don't need it, right? The reason I'm bringing this is because we have a Gun Lancer. And so that Gun Lancer is going to taunt. Otherwise, if we didn't have a Gun Lancer or Destroyer, I would have brought Scarecrow in order to cancel the Lurker pattern. There's a notable pattern that in KR region we call the Lurker pattern. Is a very dangerous one. And if you have someone who has Scarecrow, they see that pattern, use it immediately, you can cancel it. It greatly diminishes the risk of wiping in the raid. Cards, LOS Cliff. I recommend taking Crisis Evasion if you're not sure. This gate overall, there's certain things that do a lot of damage and just can kill you straight up. So either heavy armor or Crisis Evasion. I tend to gear towards Crisis Evasion though, because like yeah, on support you can mostly take care of your own health. But Crisis Evasion gives you that sense of safety, and you can play more aggressive with it, knowing that you have a second chance at life. Now let's dive in. At the beginning, you stack at 6. Like this, like as close to 6 as possible is best. In this case, I use Heavenly Tune and Guardian Tune, and then I followed up with a Rhapsody, extra care, because we're tanking the pattern at 6. And I follow up with an Identity buff. The Gun Lancer taunts him. He turns sideways, which means that the boss will go backwards and then backwards over here. So the reason why we're leading him to 6 o'clock is to force this pattern, because this is his get out of wall pattern. And it's a relatively nice pattern to do damage through, relatively in this gate. It's not too tame, but it's all we have. Now we do damage through that. So that's the grab. You need to dodge the second one. If you look again, right? When he's in, after he does the back step. If he's in this posture, he's gonna start grabbing, but you have to dodge the second one specifically. Second one. So you don't want to be at the front, not even at the sides, because this has a kind of a wide AoE. Sometimes you get grabbed from the side, so just go to the back as much as possible. So we have one person who got grabbed there. See that bar? We got a taunt. This tail whip is going to be really annoying, very hard to get used to, because it's kind of... It confuses you. If you look at it, right? It starts over here, so you think he's going to attack on the right side, but he actually attacks the left. And if you get hit by that tail whip, you get a stack. And it also pushes you down to the ground. You just got to get used to all these confusing mix. It's the Vescal pattern, so you can tell it's the Vescal pattern if the screen goes dark after the boss disappears. Nitria disappears. So what we do is we gather up bottom side. So preferably everyone's at 6, so these guys are lost. I mean, this guy's not lost. You try to gather up as much as possible bottom side. And you dodge the first one, obviously. And then the second one is going to aggro to someone. If you're all standing at the bot side, of course, it's going to aggro over here. He doesn't do the grab on the second one, so you can just stand there. And after the roar, damage window. Very nice damage window. So to profit off that damage window, we all try to lead him to bot side. Bot 6 o'clock is always our rendezvous spot. This is not the only mech where you try to gather on 6. Like the beginning one, this one, and the Yoho pattern, if possible as well. So now we have the timed mech. We go 1 left, 2 right. Makes it easier for the support to provide care if they're not caught. Always important to maintain Luminary and Magic Stream during these things. Don't forget. If you're caught, it sucks because you basically lose everything up to Magic Stream. Provide care if needed. And one nice tip on supports, if you're not grabbed, right? There will be cases where the people who have the circle, you know they get CC'd, right? And they start walking slowly towards the boss, just like in Vicus, Gate 3. If they don't start far away, let's say they start here, they might walk to their death at the end. And so one thing you can do on support is you just make them get hit by this telegraph. So you be like standing here, and then you provide them with Rhapsody so that the damage doesn't kick in. But they get knocked, they'll like knock backwards, and they will stop walking towards the boss. That's one way to make your teammates survive. The other way is to, once they get to the center, they start taking tick damage, you can just provide shielding and all. So maintain Luminary. Now we going back to damage window, but I don't use my 3 bubbles immediately because I'm waiting to see what the pattern is. It's the Just Guard into counter pattern, so now I use 3 bubbles, T-skill, attack buff. Now we're doing damage. The Gunmaster took care of the counter. I trust. Now we faced him. It was a short damage window, but it was worth it because we managed to push him down to 222. 225 is the sweet spot. 1122 is always the safe spot for this. So if you don't understand what I mean by 1122. So the safe spot initially will always overlap like this. So I'm silver, right? So silver, silver for the first 2. And then for the 3rd and 4th one, you need to move somewhere. It's either diagonally or outside. So if I start inside, then it's either outside or diagonally like this. So over here or over here or over here. So you just need to take note of which of them is the correct spot. If you start outside, then it's either here, here, or here for the 3rd and 4th ones. Let's see what the position is. So it's either here or here, right? So now you look at the overlap. It's over here. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. And then this entire mech is a gauge building mech, identity building mech. So you want to exit this with full bubbles. And like in this case, I had 2 bubbles, right? Knowing that I can build 4 bubbles through this, I just spent this 2 bubble for heal. And then I start gathering up. So while you're rotating skills like this, with the corner of your eye, you're looking at where the safe spots are. And you just keep stacking gauge, which also takes care of the stagger. And yes, it is DR during the mech. This mech. He takes like 1/10 damage or something. So you can drop a few bars, but it's not... Yeah, maybe it's not worth the effort. Usually though, because some people will still try to DPS, as a support you should try to provide at least basic buffs, attack buff and branding. Which is what I'm doing while stacking up gauge. So I exit this with 4 bubbles. They nerfed this pattern so that before we had to do it 3 times. Now you only have to do it 2. I think it used to take 1 minute 30, so it was way too long. Always when you're dealing with Nitria, whenever your phase occurs, you don't want to full send buffs. You want to watch what the first pattern is, because there are patterns that can do immediately where he just disappears. And so it will be a waste of your identity buff and T skill. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting. That's a nice pattern. So Z, attack buff renew, T skill. Hoping that he doesn't go away. Because sometimes he does it on the second pattern. But like, what can you do? See how much this Skullmaster is taking in terms of damage? Watch that again. So that vomit hurts a lot. A lot of things hurt in this gate. So that was after the vomit. It was so inside, and then, so if you get hit by those clones over here, you get pushed, and you also take 1 stack, and then you go out, or the one inside you can just push immune, and then you go inside. So inside, outside, inside. There's another mech where you need to do that as well. Remember, it's inside, outside, inside, and then afterwards it's front, back, safe. On the last phase, this changes, and it's actually left, right, safe. Sideways safe. Now, this mech is awkward to do damage through, this pattern, because he keeps moving, and if you exit the circle, you get silenced. So I usually wait until he stops moving. So this is where I send my 3 bubbles. Because from here on, you can just stand in the circle, he doesn't move. And this pattern here, this telegraph here, you can just push immune and it doesn't give you a stack. So DPSs who know that will abuse it to do damage. I just provide buffs during it. Just Guard in the counter is a very nice damage pattern. It gets neutralized. Whenever you see that fluttering of wings and that fog, it means he's going to do the Yoho pattern. Preferably everyone stacks up bottom side as much as you can. Of course, you have to dodge things, so just as much as you can. You see, that's kind of what our party's doing, except for this person. That person's lost. So luckily, it didn't aggro onto the top person. So now, since we know that he appeared here, we can just start doing damage immediately. So that's why you stack up at 6, and to draw the aggro so that you can start doing damage immediately as the boss appears. Because otherwise, if that person up there took the aggro, then it would be damage loss for 7 people. You always want to stack up for that. And 6 o'clock is our rendezvous spot. Of course, because like top side, the POV is not great. It's always bottom side that's best. If you played PvP in this game, you kind of know. Comes back. Vomit. This is the other annoying pattern because it's very deceiving. You have to get used to it, learn which way it actually turns. So it looks like he's gonna, like, he twists his body right side, but he actually moves left side and he moves backwards while doing that. You have to learn it. Once you'll understand what I mean when you're in the raid. And the annoying part about that fan attack is that you get stacks if you get hit by that. You definitely want to dodge that. This is probably the most annoying pattern for head attackers too. Whenever he launches into the air like that and moves forward with these patterns here, I mean, he's gonna do a spear attack. So you wanna move towards him. So you want to spacebar towards him and then sidestep and then move backwards. That is the way to deal with this pattern. You'll understand the value of this tip once you're in the raid. This explosion happens way faster than you think it does. And so it's very difficult to push immune it if you're like learning. In this case, because there was poop trail on the way, see this? I chose not to spacebar towards that. I just preemptively push immune after attack buffing with Guardian. So I use Guardian Tune for push immuning there. This is the other very annoying pattern. Oh, buddy. Okay. It got staggered. So buff angle. In this case, yeah, I use a 2-bubble buff because he's staggered, so it's a very nice damage window. And then we go into the timed mech, and we use the hidden mystic. And in this case, I just use a 2-bubble because we're already there. 105 is the mark you need to reach. We're already over it. So I didn't bother to stimmy it up. Of course, if you care about MVP numbers, this part actually probably counts towards MVP score, but yeah. So maybe saving a 3-bubble for this opportunity is best. But in terms of clearing the raid, it doesn't matter. Pinging the spots for so some people see illuminated clones. You ping those areas whenever if you see 2 pings on one spot, it means that's where the real Nitria is. What you do here is it's either just guard or counter, right? But you can just preemptively use counter. And if it's a counter, then you land it. If it's not a counter, then you just follow up your counter with a just guard. I used it kind of early. It's okay though, we have a Gun Lancer. Attack buff. So this is not a damage window, of course, but I'm using Heavenly Tune first for the mana regen. And you just try to build whatever gauge you can here. The stagger check is not difficult. It's very easy. It's like non-existent. And now, again, what I said earlier, whenever he phases, you don't use your buffs, like your important buffs, immediately. You watch the pattern first. And now I use T-skill because I checked that he's not moving right away. For that one, you need to be close, very close. Like after this tail whip, it changes in the last phase. The last one, safe spot is inside. So I wasn't close enough, so I actually got hit by that. I was able to tank it with Sonic Vibration though. Moving backwards. You need to develop a feel for where he's going to move. You want to be back position there. And then get hit there either. Lucky. So this move also changes from earlier phases. Before it's 5 spears in the front into a counter. In this case, it's plus X and then counter. Whereas it's hard to counter as Bard if you don't have Rhythm Buckshot, because yeah, these spear attacks do process. So you can just focus on buffing basically. Now, one key thing here is that if you are full Swift on support, I'm not in this run. I'm not full Swift. If you are full Swift on support, your Awakening cooldown is something around 1 minute 20 to 30 seconds. The Velgonos pattern in the last phase occurs something around 1 minute 40, 50 seconds after the phase starts, which means that you can use your Awakening at the very beginning of the phase within like the first 10, 15 seconds, and it will be back for the Velgonos pattern. This is important if you want to use Hyper Awakening for the Velgonos pattern. Because if your DPS, like your party mates are not too good at dealing with the Velgonos pattern, then having that Hyper Awakening, if not Awakening, can help them deal with it with much more ease. So, use your Awakening within the first 10, 15 seconds, 10 seconds preferably, of the phase start if you want to have the Awakening back for the Velgonos, the first Velgonos pattern. In this case, though, I'm like on 1500 Swift, which means my Awakening's kind of longer, and so me using Awakening here means that I won't have it back up for Velgonos. But seeing that my party mates are pretty skilled, I just don't bother to save it for that. For the double skip rope pattern here, so this is another pattern that evolves from previous phases. Before, you only have one skip rope on this. On this last phase, you have to wait for the second one as well and cross them both at the same time. And then you don't free the people who got caught. You go straight up and just counter first. It's a co-op counter. It's a spear pattern. It evolved from before. Now he teleports to a random location. So basically, you want a spacebar towards him wherever he appears. You can watch him on the minimap as well. Spacebar towards him, it's safe spot here, right? And then there's going to be a telegraph over here. So you sidestep, go to his back. This inflicts push. If you're a head attacker, you want to push immune this while trying to do damage in the front. Unfortunately, I remember this. Heavenly Tune got cancelled. I should have not tried to greet that. Should have made sure where the Zaya was going. Valganos, best damage window, probably in this raid, except for two people. The red person and the one with the black symbol. The other, for everyone else, it's a damage window. So that's why I use my stimulant here. It's such a great damage window. While he's doing the pattern and after he's neutralized as well. Use Nineveh on that as well. Drop him down. And that means that he's going to do the Valganos pattern. So I don't have T-skill available. If possible, you want to save your T-skill for this because there's going to be quite a few people who use Hyper Awakening at the first Valganos pattern. If possible, you want to save it. I did step on one of them. I think I moved too late or too quick. It's fine though. I use Hyper Awakening after reapplying attack buff and branding. I messed up the Sonic Vibration position. It's fine though, because we only have 6 bars left. I reapply Heavenly Tune, and he's dead like that. We didn't see a Lurker pattern during this run, but I think there was one in one of my other runs, so I'll show you how to cancel Scarecrow. Cancel the pattern with Scarecrow. Okay, gate 2 on artists. You can keep using the same skill set for all 3 gates. And note that I'm bringing Scarecrow in this run. It's because we don't have a taunt class. And the Scarecrow is very nice for canceling the Lurker pattern. We'll see if it happens in this run. So you don't need to commit to using the battle item exclusive to this gate. You can use Sacred Charm for the Lurker pattern as well to free people who get caught. Scarecrow is even better, I'd say, which is why I try to bring it. Trying to stack up Luminary, and then try to not use Starry Night for stacking because you'll use it immediately. Starry Night, identity buff, T-skill, counter, attack buff renewed, identity buff renewed, very nice damage window. I use Awakening. Whenever you use Awakening, you want to be careful. This is a counter pattern because there's a lot of patterns that give you stacks or grab you. You want to be sure it's a free window for Awakening usage in this gate. Another counter pattern. So we're really lucky here. 3 consecutive counter patterns opens up a lot of damage windows. Attack buff, identity buff, T-skill. Go in again. Okay, unlucky. But this is a nice damage window from the back. So you want a spacebar towards the boss's location when he does that spear pattern. Dodge. This one. You want to look at the minimap. Always focus on the minimap whenever he disappears like that. backwards movement. T-skill. He did the time mech, but it's a slight damage window here so that T-skill does not go to waste. One left to right. Check if you're circle. And if you are circle, then you want to watch the debuff bar. And once it starts ticking below 1 second, or like, yeah, basically 1 second, you try to gather up as the support. You want to shield people because the circles do inflict damage. So in this case, I could have actually provided Door of Illusion first for the extra shielding, and then hopped on them. Would have been better. They took 1 tick from that. But I informed them, I think, that I do have a heal bubble. Yeah, I tell them I have a heal, so they don't need to heal up. And don't need to drink pot. Heal. Unfortunately, that pattern, if you are caught, you can't use skills, you lose magic stream. You have to stack up again. Outside, inside, outside, inside for this one. So you dodge, and then if he does that pattern, it means you go inside first. And if you're outside, you just try to dodge the telegraphs, although it's kind of rough. I was kind of lucky there too. Outside and then inside. Safe. And if he does that, that's a counter. And I managed to land it. It was kind of slanted. It was funky counter. I did it this way and somehow landed there. Frees up a damage window. Very nice. Awakening used. Bowie phased immediately. So you want to exit this with full gauge. Again, 1122 for the free, like the safe zones. I'm silver. You check that first when you enter this pattern. I'm silver. The boss is silver as well. You don't need to eat the buff. And then you check the safe zones. We're a silver safe zone first. 1122 safe zone. So it's outside. Outside again. So it's like you can stand here basically. And then where's the second one? Here and here. So 1122. I think it's best to always try to simplify the problems so that you can focus on other things. So if you know that the safe zones are always 1122 in that order, it's just an issue of which 1122 it is. You can just focus on building gauge and providing support, care. Not just for this mech. 1122. And just dropping balls because I have excess bubbles. Now that's the second one. I didn't need to eat ball, so just waiting. Might do an extra pattern. Okay, extra pattern. So it's not safe on his back. It's great for classes that have push immunity or Headmaster can attack from a range, but if you need to stick to the boss to attack, this is a very bad pattern. Just try to provide care with Starry Night. Always during these phases, you try to maintain Luminary. Can't stress how important that is. You need to develop that habit. Attack buff branding, I wait to see what the pattern is. It's the spear pattern, the lance pattern. You spacebar towards him, and then go to his back. And then it's free damage window. Again, it's the annoying pattern. In my party, we used to call it gang, 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 gang. That's kind of what it sounds like when you hear it in game. Just guard into counter. Counter. Get all those buffs in. Not a great damage window. I did use T, but I probably should have saved it for after, because yeah, you keep getting silenced, and it keeps moving around. If you get hit by this, it gives you stacks. So once he stops after front, back, Then it's a nice damage window because you just keep still and then you can push immune everything. This one especially. It doesn't give you stacks. You need to know what gives you stacks and doesn't. He always returns to his initial position for that one. Spear. So you can just process immune in the front and then try to counter. At the 5th one, if you're not standing in the front, right, he does 5 spear attacks and then he provides that counter. So you can spacebar in after the 4th spear and then try to hit the counter. Or you just process immune in the front if you're trying to hit it. Like that. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fluttering of wings and fog means Yoho pattern. So, like, I try to go to the bottom. I see a lot of people are trying to go to the bottom. But these two, this one realizes we're all going to the bottom. Best if you stack up and draw the aggro to the bottom side. Gives you better perspective. And you can start doing damage immediately after he appears. You always want to watch the minimap to see where he actually materialized. And since he's in the wall, it's great because he does that backstep pattern. Repositioning, getting out of wall pattern, which is a decent damage window. Again, the annoying gang. So I focus on shielding if anyone gets caught by the AoE. Inside, outside, inside. Maybe a counter? Counter. I think if nobody gets CC'd by this pattern, then I think it's a counter. If someone does get caught, then I think he disappears and tries to grab that person who got CC'd. You want to make that distinction. Oh, that's a very good question. Does the backstep pattern give infection stacks? So, when he is stuck to a wall, so like in this case over here, right? When he's doing the get out of wall backstep, this doesn't give you stacks even if you get hit. So you can just push immune this fan over here, this cone. This one doesn't give you. But if he does it as a normal pattern in the center of the arena, then it gives you stacks. Anyways, get outside, inside. And then watch what he does next. Spear attack, so number 4, 5, and then you can counter. Identity buff. Oh, I'm waiting. Yeah, because I think I was feeling that he's gonna do the timed mech. Even without looking at the clock, you can kind of develop a feel for it if you've done it enough times. You keep buffing. If you need bubbles, you can always use stimulant for this, of course. It's a nice damage window. Dropped it down below 105, so we phased. Of course, remember, any damage below 105 doesn't matter because he regains health back to 105 after this. So counter and then just guard. Always just counter into just guard. Ping, ping. So it's over here. We stack up. Make sure to wait until the lines get kind of transparent and then move out. Otherwise, you're going to draw the telegraphs over to where you need to go. You need everyone to be patient here. Patient, and then move out. And counter into just guard. If it's counter, if the clone is giving you a counter pattern, then that counter will land. If it's just guard, then you stop trying to counter and you should just guard immediately. This is fail-proof way. And here you just stack engage because the damage here doesn't matter. He's going to regain it. It's a very short window anyways. Before the nerfs, we used to be way longer. You'd actually like greed damage for that MVP, or you could stack a lot of gauge here. But they nerfed it. They reduced the timing. Always when he phases, you want to wait and see what the first pattern is. That's the Just Guard pattern. The timing for the Just Guard is when the ball appears. Let me see this. Then you can press G. Again, dodge, dodge, and then wait for the ball, G. Backstep vomit. And watch out for the vomit. He turns. He turns. That's the grab pattern. Don't get grabbed. Remember this one. The first one is fine. Don't get grabbed by the second one. And don't stand at the sides either. It's kind of wider than you think it is on the sides. And not this one, actually, but there's another one that's like just be at the back. Yeah, when he lances forward like that, that's a grab. Like that. All the people who are in that zone get grabbed. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 is okay. Dodge the third one. Otherwise, you get knocked, and you also get hit by the fourth one. This does a lot of damage. First two only inflict process. Third one is push. Teleport. Want to watch the minimap or the screen. Watch where he goes. Spacebar towards him. In this case, he aggroed onto someone over there. But when that spear lands, where Nitria is safe. It's always safe. So you always want to keep track of where he's going. By the way, the Zaya pattern, you don't want to tank it in the front. You can get hit by multiple of these and they can kill you. Regardless of how tanky you think you are. Backstep vomit. Nice damage window, but in the front, you can get multiple stacks if you get hit by that. So this reposition, so it doesn't give you stacks, see? No stacks. Reposition backstep is fine. It's just push. This is disappear into counter. Watch where she appears and then counter into a nice damage window. So in this case, I have Awakening available. It's because over here... Yeah, I just don't use it from this point. I'm just thinking about using it on the Velganos. Which happens around 1 minute 40 to 50 seconds-ish into this phase. So when you're using Hyper Awakening, you wait for the first explosion, and then you use Hyper Awakening. And it allows you to not have to deal with the entire mech. Makes it convenient. Also, if you use your Hyper as a support, then it also gives everyone that shield plus Crisis Evasion. In case they messed up during the Valgonos mech, it deals a lot of damage, so you can allow them to survive. Just guard, swipe, counter. Attack buff, T-skill, identity buff, all in. That nice damage window. He disappears for a last Fescal. I just respect the pattern, but really you can just go do damage. It's fine, because we got a sliver of HP left anyways. Someone goes ends it. Goes and ends it. Yep. Gate 2 Paladin. Take whatever skills you want. 1 blue, 2 blue, it's fine. Engravings, whatever you want. Battle item. In this case, since we have a Gun Lancer, I think maybe 2. I don't bring the Scarecrow, I bring the exclusive item. But not really because we need it. It's like because. So let's dive in. Stacked up Luminary a bit. Oh, it went away. Attack buff into God's Decree, Identity buff, Taunt, beautiful. So he's gonna do a backstep, and that is like the perfect taunt. Because he gets stuck into the bottom side wall. And so his backstep is stuck there too, which makes it a very nice window. Grab in the front, and then he always follows that one up with a backswing. If nobody's caught. Zaya. Awakening into attack buff. So this one you can tank. You can push immune inside. So it's either spacebar inside or God's Decree like this. God's Decree is nice because you're also providing shield, of course. I just trust my Gunlasters, I think, for this one. Yep. So 5th attack, followed by counter. Nice damage window. Just guard. Oh, just guard didn't work. So very nice damage window. And then he phases for the timed mech. In this case, we don't go 1 left, 2 right. So just improvise. Just in this case, just look at the minimap, right? And see if there's unattended people. If you're not caught, maintain Luminary. I try to see if anyone left and right need help. You don't need help. Good. Light shock. Attack buff. It's the skip rope pattern. Watch out for the counter. Oh, never mind. There's no counter. If people get caught, I guess. I need to go relearn some of these patterns. Gold. And then the boss silver. So I need to eat. 1122, I think. 1122. Stagger. Nothing much to do on Paladin because you can't overstack gauge. Can light up heavenly aura, holy aura for a bit, and then like just restack it. But what's the point since it's DR'd heavily anyways? I think it's 1122. I need to eat, I think, so I ping. Let them know that I need the buff. Just you can't do it alone as a support. Providing shielding, damage. Always I want to watch out for those Zaya claws. They come back regardless of whether you interrupt the boss with taunt. So I just sidestep it. Now we're waiting. Am I gonna use Awakening for that? Gauge gain? Yeah, I do. Could have used the attack buff before I used Awakening so that they can immediately access that attack buff. Now wait to see if it's a nice pattern. Backwards Vomit is a nice pattern. I send my buffs. Grab. Always want to watch out for that backward swing because that causes process. Backstep in the middle of the arena means if you get hit by that, it inflicts a stack. Now let's see. That's the drop. So outside, inside. Lurker. This is the Lurker pattern. And see how that Gunlancer, one of those Gunlancers taunted it? So this is the really dangerous pattern. It's probably the most dangerous pattern in this entire gate. And those Gunlancers was just waiting for that. If you see Nitria planting stuff behind him, you want to taunt. So what I do when we don't have a Gunlancer in the party, I bring Scarecrow, and the moment I see that, I'm already trying to plant Scarecrow. It cancels the pattern. So whenever you see someone taunting that like that, you need to raise those thumbs up. Backstep, backstep. That's the annoying pattern. This time it's the cones. Always hard to dodge that. It's confusing. It's delusive. You can push immune that one. So in this case we have 15 stacks. If I paid attention, I could have canceled my Holy Aura, which would have been better. But I wasn't paying attention to how many stacks we had across the party. Just guard, just guard, just guard. The second and third ones are a bit faster than the first one, but it opens up a nice damage window if you succeed this. When we were progging on first week, we tried to trigger that on purpose. Thanks for that nice damage window. He follows it up with this full meter mech though. Just kind of a damage loss. Stagger, stagger, and then do damage right after. Yoho pattern. Preferably you stack up on bottom side, 6 o'clock to guide the aggro. See everyone's trying to stack up, sorta. Unfortunately, it targets the one person who was away. Just damage loss since you can't step on these. If you get hit by that, you turn into Yoho. You always want to stack up around 6 o'clock when that Yoho pattern happens or the Vescal pattern happens. Because otherwise it's damage loss. Backstep, backstep. Backwards vomit. So this is annoying for front attacker. See, that Gonlancer took at least one stack there. It's like unfortunate. You just have to take it if you're a front attacker like that. And hidden timed mech, so we use the hidden mystic there. And I use stimulant to provide buffs. On support, I like to save that stimulant in case we need it for mystic. If I already have full meter, then I'll save it for later for a nice pattern. Now we enter the 105 line mech. 2 pings, 11 o'clock. Counter into just guard. Always maintain luminary. See what I'm doing? Light shock, light shock. Counter into just guard. And try to build a bit of gauge there. Bit of meter. And then you don't buff immediately, like the identity buffs. You save it in case you have it full. You wait for what the pattern looks like. And then you commit. So I wasn't close enough for that one. Double skip rope, so I just cut my identity buff for a moment because it's not a nice damage window. You have to focus on dealing with the mech first. Counter first. And then stack up a bit more. Could have used Awakening there too. Inside, outside, inside. Someone was caught, so he does the grab. Dodge that. Slash, slash, slash 5 times, backstep into counter. There's a variation of that where he does 4 additional slashes. If you're a Gunlancer, it's nice to interrupt this pattern as well. It's awkward to do damage through that. Just guard when you see the orb illuminate on top in front of the boss. Again. Avoid. Avoid. And then see the orb. And then press G. This inside, outside, inside. So for that one, if you get hit by the clones that appear on the outskirts, these ones, you get stacks. And then it's dangerous inside. And then you go back in. And then, because it's the last phase, it's no longer front-back safe, it's left-right safe. See how we're all gathered up like that? Disappear into counter. Slash. Avoid the third one. Keep your spacebar to avoid the third one for this one. The first two you can just process immune. Just a grab. Someone got grabbed. Backstep into another backstep. Got cancelled because of Velganos. So I don't have Awakening this time. You're gonna have to watch. The 5 o'clock one is reverse Uno. Reverse. Keep walking. And the 7 o'clock was fake. You just keep moving in the same direction. Teleport. Spacebar to where he is. And then go backwards, sideways. Front into backstep. Like inflicts gauge. Got interrupted with taunt. And then free damage window because of full stagger. Now, here's the reason why I recommend Scarecrow if you don't have a Gun Lancer in the party, or Destroyer. So this specific pattern, the Lurker pattern, can be really dangerous. And it's an entire mech where you can't really do damage. So the moment where he plants his tentacles on the ground, that means the boss is doing the Lurker pattern. So the moment I see that, I try to plant the Scarecrow. You can kind of do it after, because there's an initial pull happens. The Lurker pattern starts. So here, you see that pull? You can use the Scarecrow after that happens. And see, it gets cancelled like that. Because otherwise, people get stunned by the Lurker tentacles. And then Nitria does a big AoE grab that can be really disastrous. So having someone carry that Scarecrow, watching out for a Lurker pattern, cancelling it immediately as they see it, can increase safety across the raids, your raid. Gate 3 on Bard. Let's talk first about card set. So if you have support Earth set 30, you use that. If you don't, then you can consider using the minor Earth set. The one with Guardian Lu gives you 2.5, which is better than the major Earth set at 24, which is 2%. If you have neither of those, then you have a plan set, of course. Now, battle item, potion, stim, or time stop. If you're progging, time stop might be better. Shiny Sacred Charm or Bomb and Dark Bomb. If your group has decided to use one corrosive, then like it's either you or the other support. Now for skills, you'll notice here that I have a single brand set up with Harp. It's because of the nature of the gate. Harp single brand just works because the boss never moves. And it's very nice because you have to perform duties away from the boss often, so it allows you to maintain branding while like going pooping outside and all. And then definitely you want to take Rhapsody. There's a lot of Rhapsody angles in this gate. I like to take Buckshot because there are a lot of sudden consecutive counters that occur throughout this gate. So just for that safety net, it's nice if the supports can take double counter if they can. So Paladin, Bard. If you think you can trust your group with counters, as in you have a gun lancer and such, then you can definitely take out that rhythm buckshot, put something else. You can put in Sonatina. You can even consider taking Stigma, which can be a nice option in games like this where the boss is just at the center and doesn't move. Full Swift, High Swift, very recommended. And let's dive in. So at the beginning, when you're stacking Luminary, you want to avoid using Rhapsody because you might have to use it at the very beginning. I try to stack, but not really. You should definitely try to enter with close to full stacks. Attack buff, identity buff applies branding, T skill. And it's just Rhapsody there because there's people tanking at the front. So that's why I say don't use Rhapsody for stacking Luminary. And then for Sonic Vibration placement, you're always trying to use it on at least 2 people. So you might want to tell your party mates, for instance, that like I'm gonna try to focus on the front or the back if you have a bunch of hitmasters. Otherwise, it might be obvious where the position is. Like if you have more than 2 back attackers, 2 or more back attackers is always at the back. Let me try to comment on the patterns. Rake is center safe. Grab. So he always does a grab around the 4th pattern after the raid starts. This is Stomp. If someone gets caught, then he does a laser in front. That inflicts Gauge. I'm gonna be careful. So here, people are nicely grouped in the back. And we had the 475 line mech. It turns clockwise in the center. I'm gonna keep moving. And try to provide buffs if possible. Don't try to like overdo yourself. It's more important to dodge the electricity than trying to provide buffs here. It's not a great damage window for most classes. Like there are classes that can benefit a lot from it, like Blade, but it's not every class. Headbutt, Tornado. And then I chose to tank it with Guardian Tune. If you don't have Guardian Tune on yourself, you can just spacebar inside. The timing for that is when the bar fills up. So you see after the tornado, he slams the ground. And then you see that telegraph on the ground. When that fills up, you spacebar. In this case, I'm red, so I'm not countering. It's a nice damage window afterwards. Stomp, stomp. He always moves in the same direction for the second one. So this is before stage break. If he does the double stomp, in this case he moved clockwise, right? Which means the second one will also be slightly clockwise, like in that same direction. He moves slightly towards that direction. So you have a 459 mech. Sonic Vibration, try to plant it. Don't overdo yourself here again. More important to dodge. You can try to fit in 1 skill maybe. Here and there. It's more important to dodge. And as support, your job is also to look out for your party mates. So like with the corner of your eye while dodging, you're also looking at your party mates, seeing if anyone got CC'd, if they need care, shielding, anything. Be ready to space bar and use Sacred Charm for them. So co-op. There's a nice damage window, so I sent buffs. Oh, so for this one, this rake, the spot is very narrow in the center. So you want to be hugging that arrow. I wasn't like fully hugging it. It's like over here. Skip rope. IQ test. Skip. And then once this side explodes, you're free to move on it. And you always want to watch if anyone got CC'd. Now you're the 425 line mech. So what's important here is to save your awakening for this pattern. So you have to calculate from beforehand how you're going to have that awakening available. So for instance, I use awakening probably at the beginning here. Yep. And then it comes back, right? It's 446. I can consider using it, but it might not be entirely back for the next pattern. It depends on the rate at which you're pushing. In this case, I choose to save it. Because it might not... Like, we might push so fast that it's not available for this mech. Could have used it, though. I think we had enough time. So here, some people greed during this. You're gonna, like, greed until the circle closes. As long as you dodge these electricity orbs. You want to use spacebar for that, just to make sure. And also, one good tip is... When this mech happens, right? He plants his arms on the ground, and that's where the orbs come from. You don't want to be standing anywhere close here. So you're trying to locate the center of the circle where it's going to close into. At the same time, you don't want to be anywhere close to that. You want to have space so you can dodge / spacebar to CC immune them. And for this one, you want to stand at the very edge. The very edge. And you wait until it fills, and then you move. No fancy stuff here, just wait until it fills, and then you just right-click. You have enough time to move out. Use Guardian Tomb beforehand, just in case people need that CC immune. And here I'm maintaining Luminary. Throughout this entire thing, it's very important to maintain Luminary. You might lose track trying to dodge things. I plant Harp in the center. You already have Brand going in. So now that we ate all the balls, that is when I awaken. So once we're done dealing with these orbs, that is your cue for awakening. One thing important here is that this circle inside, it only gives tick damage. It doesn't give gauge. And so feel free to walk inside for a few seconds while you're trying to dodge things in the outskirts. And then it's the same reason why I use Awakening here. Supports tend to use Awakening here. And you just go in with that Awakening shield. Now note that this is not enough. The shield alone is not enough, so you need to provide extra shielding and DR so that people don't lose their health. See, like, even with all that, they still lost a bit. I think this is the Awakening wore off, but yeah. Here it's a 1-to-1 ratio, 4-4, so I noticed that I'm red, they're blue. I mean, wait, no. Yeah, I'm red, they're blue, so I go walk up to them. We exchange, 4-4 ratio is maintained. I go poop. So because of things like this, you have to move away from the boss certain times. So it's very nice to have Harp. Keep applying that brand, although, like, yeah, we did miss a few seconds there. But it's more important to go lay that poop properly. Stomp. This is very dangerous. If they don't have recovery, they're sitting in that poop, they're gonna keep taking a lot of damage and their gauge increases. Gotta watch out. If that was my party mate, I would have ran over them, or over to them. Provide Rhapsody or something. And a very immediate stomp into laser. There. 400 line pattern. The direction here is random. Stand in center. Blue. Again, not a great damage window. So like, don't try to overdo yourself trying to provide, like, maintain uptime here. No, I'm thinking about stage break. Stomp, stomp. In this case, the artillerist decided to tank that stomp. The second one. I think he used the energy field and it wore off there. Or was it their X skill? Their firepower? So now it's 375, stage break. Check if your duel always check. And then if you're support or another like a gauge building DPS class, you can always walk over to the orb over here and plant a few skills to stack a bit of gauge, because you can't do that on the boss for fear of triggering the stagger. You don't want to do it preemptively. So now I'm trying to build quickly for a 3 bubble. It would have been better if the 3 bubble was prepared beforehand, of course. But it's hard to tell at which pace we're pushing times. I provide 1 heal, because usually this is an adjuvant window. A 3 bubble into 1 heal. I do use my stimulant. Oh, interesting. Because I usually save it for later. Oh, but since we're pushing faster nowadays, we definitely don't get to see the 79 mech sometimes. I usually save it for the last stage. I mean, the last stage break duel. Or the one before that. And then I save Awakening for the 79 mech. In this case, so let's see, again, from the beginning. Usually his patterns are tame right after the first stage break. So here, it's center safe, but you have to hug the boss. So watch where the arrow is. You want to hug that spot, basically. And you always want to maintain aggro on the center as much as possible. This one, you lead the telegraphs. There's going to be people who are aggroed with it. You want to lead it over here, and then you go do damage over here. They make out in time, so I'm just like providing buffs from afar there. And then after like 3 patterns, if you've pushed it to beyond 326, then he'll do this pattern. You can tell by how the stagger bar locks, because usually you'll have the stagger bar unlocked at this point. You don't want to be at the center for this. Dodge out. And then move in. So this guy died. Oh, and note that so this run, the support on the other side died. And I chose this run specifically because since they don't have a support, we get to see more mechs. So somehow the other party manages the Gun Lancer shield and all. Now let's see. So while you're dealing with the orbs, you always want to look what he's doing. If he brandish the hammer with both arms, it's gonna mean, so he's blue, right? So in front of him is blue safe, followed by red safe, blue safe, and that's why I'm standing here. I know it's a safe spot for blue. Always want to check your color. 3 bubble buff. Now I'm thinking about supernova soon. You always want to see where the hammer lands for this one. If it's inside, you need to move out. It's outside dangerous, inside safe, so you can just maintain position at the center. So whenever it's lightning, like color change mech, you first want to note whether you have electricity. Pay attention to that first. And then if you don't have electricity, then you can just stay in the center and then watch where the color change guy is and whether you need to change colors. If you have electricity poop, then you don't need to go outside immediately. Just process immune this, either spacebar through it or process immune it. You can do a bit of damage here, fit in like 1 or 2 skills, and then you can move out, because you have a lot of time before the lightning poop actually lands. Now when he raises his hammers like that, you want to watch which arm or arms he raises. If it's both, it means he's going to slam the center. So what I like to do on supports is I shield people, because there might be people who just tank it. Like in this case, I think it was when a music was applied, so I just decided to spacebar, push immune. For this one, the Draven pattern, note that whoever's closest gains the aggro for the second one. And then if the second one is decided, then the third one is slightly slanted from that. And if you draw aggro properly at 90 degrees from the boss on the side, then the front is actually a free DPS spot. Of course, it depends on your color. So in this case, it's red inside. You want to watch what the color is. I was too close for that one. So you need to move like really far away for that one. Yeah, I got hit by that hammer. So you either move really far or really in because of that hammer slam. I thought that was far enough. I guess not. And that used to do kill damage. I'm not sure if that's didn't do damage because it's nerfed. They didn't nerf a lot of the hammer slams. Usually that did like near death damage. Both arms raised means it's red, blue, blue, red, red, blue, blue. So it's not blue, I'm just sitting in the front. Now, it's beyond 300, we're getting Supernova. What's on your mind as well is that if you're saving Hyper Awakening for the 275 line mech, you don't want to use the Awakening that comes back here. Now watch on Bard if it's Supernova, because your Prelude is also a counter, so you don't want to use it for gauge stacking. So wait, hold on it. That's like a big mistake that Bards make when they are not too experienced, like they haven't seen this pattern a lot. You need to be aware that your Prelude is also a counter. If you Prelude there, it's death, it's wipe, and you have to restart. I tanked that. In this case, it's second row and then first row safe, right? First row and then second row safe. So the second one, I just tank in case there's someone who's trying to push me in. So that's something I like to do on my blade, for instance, to maintain position and keep doing my rotations. I don't move out. I was trying to tank it with turning slash, surge, spacebar, and whatnot. So it's very nice if I mean you can kind of tell the tendency of your party mates whether they are goblins or not. If you think they're goblins, then you want to tank those patterns together. Like you provide Winter Music or Rhapsody and just tank it together with them. Watch the hand. Raised hand. Safe side that way. I just tank it. Outside is dangerous. Inside safe. No, that Paladin, there's no support on the other side, so we're pushing really slow. More patterns. Attack buff. So this is the Anvil pattern. That's why I saved my Awakening for this. The problem, though, is that I did not save my T skill. So basically, I should have kept it here. So that was why a grave mistake. It's like a pug roll to save Hyper Awakening for the 275 line mech because of how much risk factor there is for it. If you're on a static and like you believe in each other, you can like not save Hyper for it, but it's best if at least the support saves it. Because if the supports use Hyper Awakening for that pattern, then everyone has Crisis Evasion for 30 seconds. Allows you to at least survive the mech, even if everything hits south. So here, Anvil pattern 275. I saved my Awakening. I did not save my T skill. Grave mistake. Usually people will use Hyper altogether for this. The timing for using Hyper is when he turns yellow and starts slamming the anvil. When he's slamming down is your cue to go. And that allows you to skip all 3 Just Guards. So that's the fail-proof way to deal with the 275. That's Boomerang into center safe. So this is like constantly center safe for that one. So color change. So I just use Rhapsody for the process immune there. And then I check that I have lightning there, right? I go out after like hitting 1 skill. I kind of came out too early. Could I fit in one more skill? So this is bad, right? This is bad. This area is dangerous. I just like I just did it because I'm Bard. I know how tanky I am. But this area is dangerous. Actually, this is pre-nerf, so because this is footage from April. Might do less damage now. Here I tank it with Rhapsody. Heavenly Tune. So now we get Stage Break. Check if you have the duel. The sword, like the hammer symbols on your character indicates whether you have duel. You can always go to the ball to stack up gauge, of course. Once the laser, he shoots it, then is your cue to go finish the stagger. Fiercely trying to build up for 3 bubbles. 3 bubble used. Attack buff. T-skill also in. Great damage window. I use the 3 bubble again. But you have to be lucky here, because if it's the laser pattern, it's not a great damage window. It's a bad damage window. So, if after the second stage break, if he turns this direction over here, so he turns this direction, right? That means it's going to be a counter, whichever counter it is. Counter, counter. And then note that he might do consecutive counters because of the way the internal cooldowns work, along with co-ops being, I think they're line mix. See, another counter. So that could have been actually consecutive. Actually, no. Maybe. Stomp laser. Check your color before you try to counter. Check your color. Don't counter unless you're really sure. That was a red counter. I'm blue, so I'm not countering. Stomp means Rhapsody. Stomp means Rhapsody. Like whether people choose to tank it knowingly or unknowingly, want to provide that shielding. Check your color. Red left, blue right. Avoid the stomp, the slam on the ground. You can kind of fill up a bit of gauge while dealing with this mech. Now, there's another way to deal with this, but that has not gained popularity yet. So maybe you guys will also stick to this way of dealing it. So red rides wire and blue walks. Like this. You can build gauge, but of course keep in mind that you have to dodge the electricity balls coming from the outskirts. If you see anyone on your party get caught, use Sacred Charm aggressively. Laser. So whenever laser pattern happens, you want to check the state of the stagger bar first. If it is an angle to finish off the stagger bar, I'm trying to fit in a lot of skills to cancel this pattern. One of the best patterns to cancel. And whenever laser pattern happens, the people who didn't have to ride it need to be in position, ready for a potential counter. Let's grab. Headbutt, tornado. Safe spot. Stagger is gonna happen soon. I'm color changed, so I'll just stick to the center. You're gonna get staggered soon. Once he's staggered, no longer do you take tick damage from uneven charges. You don't have to care too much about maintaining balance. This is only a good damage window if your DPSs are red because it's standard pug rule to have red hug the inside and blue hug the outside. If you're in a static and you're in comms, you can definitely try to switch that depending on your party breakup. So for instance, if we have 5 blue and 2 red, for instance, you want the blue people to be hugging inside instead of the red so that they can do a bit of damage while walking and dealing with the mech. A very narrow spot inside, you need to be hugging that arrow. Laser, can't stagger, so you have to walk it out. Generally, it follows the side where there's more people. Like, if you know that your side has more people, you gotta be ready for it. And then always be careful about subsequent patterns he does after you ride the grappling hook. I mentioned the counter earlier, but you can also do this kind of stuff. Like, you can do, like, stomp in your direction. And, like, you'd be like, bro, I just arrived, what? You have to be ready. You have to be mentally ready. Like, the moment you land, he might do something obnoxious. This is, I don't think, do we call it 200 line pattern? Yeah, 200 line pattern, so hammer pattern. So note that this is a very good damage window, and if you are in a party with Bard or Artist, you need to be hugging the center side if you're playing DPS, because that's where the Sonic Vibration / Sunwell will be. I mean, if like this entire side is just your party DPS, then you can just plant the Sonic Vibration over here, of course, but like generally this area. And then let's see. So great damage window. First, check your color. Check which side you need to be going to. Red. And note that this inflicts process when he throws them. And then he does a slam. I use Heavenly Tune quick. What do I tank it with? I think I tank it with Identity Buff. That was really rushed. I tank it with Identity Buff. So those slams obviously push, so you want to tank it. Like if you're standing there, you just move out, but if you want to tank it, use any push immunity skill. I use Awakening to prepare the next Identity Buff. Great damage window. See where I plant the Sonic Vibration. This guy should be here. These guys should be here. Now you check your color and you check the location, the color of where you're going to. I'm red. It's red. I don't need to change color. I'm staying outside. These people need to change their color, so they're hugging the boss in the center. Once the circle appears, you can go inside on the side. Don't try to encroach on the circle, of course, for fear of having your color changed. For this mech, you can kind of goblin. The first explosion doesn't do anything. As long as you're inside the circle for the second one, you're safe. So you can kind of greed a bit. Make sure to get there on time for the second one, though. For the color change after this mech, there is no electricity poop, as you can see. So this means that you can just all stay at the center without having to go outside. Like, if you're all standing in the center, everyone's color changes, right? 4-3 becomes 3-4, and there's no electricity poop. You don't need to go outside. And by this time, usually you'll have at least one stagger bar depleted, which means that you won't be taking any tick damage from uneven charges. So it doesn't matter what like color split it is. You just all tank. Like, you stay at the center, tank the skip rope electricity thing, and just keep doing damage. I'm blue, so I have to look away. That's the Medusa pattern. Grab, spacebar out. If someone gets grabbed, you need to be ready for counter. So I'll just chain my counter skills there. The timing is kind of rough. You'll just have to get a good feel for it. But yeah, like, you definitely want to save that person who got grabbed, that counter. Just like look at it enough so that you get a feel for at what timing it is. The window for that counter is really short. Need to get a good feel for it. I spacebar through the tornadoes and just move out. So I use my that was the mistake. I use my spacebar for the tornadoes, but I don't have my spacebar to get out. Unfortunately, I get electricity stacks there. I mean, electricity stunned there. Electrocuted. So, for this pattern here, if you have electricity, you don't need to go outside immediately. You can plant a few skills, just check the cooldown on like the timer on the debuff. As long as you plant it outside by the time it lands, you're fine. And then make sure to not go outside. So you're sticking to the center line here. The reason is, let's say I'm blue. I'm blue right here now, right? So there's gonna be people who are DPSing. I need to go poop outside. Blue safe here. So I go to this direction. So see what happens. Like say I'm blue and I'm standing over here. Right? This is the safe spot. I can't make it in time. I'm guaranteed to take gauge. If you stand in the center, it's guaranteed either this side is blue or this side is blue. So hover at the center. And then afterwards, support role is very important here. You need to shield your party mates. Because they have to tank it. You have to tank at least one of them. Like whichever... So there's like, I think 2 variations of these tiles. But if you're not riding the grappling hook, you have to tank it. And the reason why you can't ride the grappling hook is that sometimes he does laser pattern right after. If you already rode the grappling hook, you can't ride it again. If the laser comes towards your direction, you die. So shielding is very... So poop when the timer wears off. And then as support, you want to provide shielding, whether it's Awakening, Wind of Music, Guardian Tune, Rhapsody. Provide shielding because people are going to tank it. Stomp into Stomp. So you want to push immune both of them. If you don't have push immune, then just like walk over here. You don't want to be tanking it over here. I think if it's over here, then you don't get like knocked into the air long distance. Always when you ride the grappling hook, you want to use one skill before you ride it, if possible, so that you maintain Luminary while riding it, and then make sure to renew it. I didn't. Bad example. So yeah, you want to use one skill before, and then you want to use one skill afterwards. You have 3 bubbles going into this stage break. This duel. 3 bubble used. Area coming up. Landed. Sonic Vibration. You just keep building gauge. And if I had Stimulant, I would have used it. I just used it earlier, but depending on how fast your group is pushing, sometimes like recently I've been seeing groups that like ended pretty much here. Like before the last stage break. So that's why I've been moving up my stimulant use earlier. But usually it's a very nice window for stimulant usage here. And then you can save your awakening for the 70 line mech, the one where you have to do Simon Says, I guess you can call it. Left, right dodge. If you use Awakening, however, way before this entire duel, then it will be back up for the 70 line mech. Like if you use it like way before this duel, like a bit before this duel. Kind of depends on Bard though, you might have a bit more spec. So your Awakening cooldown might be longer. But yeah, it's nice to have Awakening available for that 70 line pattern. Because people can just tank everything and DPS through it, as long as their gauge doesn't go beyond half point. Another 3 bubble built. Look at the patterns, look at the patterns. Raised arm, safe side. This is center safe, so you just keep DPSing in the center. Blue right, so I move slightly right side. Hug the boss, otherwise you're gonna get hit by those hammers. 79 pattern. So if you have Awakening for this, great. You can use it. I use it here. So now you can just tank while dodging. Like if it gives you gauge, you want to dodge it, of course, but like this, you don't have to mind as much. You can just push immune through it. Red, red. Reapply Heavenly Tune and Brand and then move out. You can kind of tank it here, but if you don't want to risk it, probably need to push immune that. I'm just going to tank it with Sonic Vibration. He gets staggered. 40 bars left. Remember, the support on the other side died, so we're pushing slower than usual. Supernova. You know what that means on bards? Don't use Prelude. Lock Prelude. Lock Prelude. Remember. Wait for that last one. And as long as you know which patterns to avoid, like how to avoid them, there's two notably dangerous patterns. The home run pattern and the boomerang pattern. Those two are not center safe. You need to watch out for those. I'm the duelist here. Just building gauge here. You don't need to be standing at the circle. You just be with your team. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna use Awakening. This is so that also like for 3 bubbles, but also so that they have shielding, because we're gonna fail the last one, and that does damage. So while you're just guarding, I'm planting Sonic Vibration, keeping on my attack buffs, and you also want to push immune. So since I already applied shielding, I just need to apply push immune. You can just Rhapsody through it, of course, easiest way to deal with it. In this case, I use Sonic Vibration, and I followed up with a Rhapsody to provide just like extra care. And now that's the timing for Balthor. So note that if you don't have a support for this, like on this side, the easiest way is after the second Just Guard, you just go ride the grappling hook like this. So you don't have to take the damage here. So this side party, we have a support, and they're like, I'm providing shielding. So it's fine, but this actually does a lot of damage. I've seen people die to this without any care. So if you're unsure, just go ride the grappling hook. Even if you're the raid lead, even if you ride the grappling hook, you can come back and still use hidden. I think. And here, best if your party gathers up so that you can provide care, attack buffs, and all. Just go find your party mates as support. Go find them. It's a series of 6 dodges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, wait, is it 5? Was it 5? I thought it was 4. Never mind. And you just dodge everything here. And then the laser, when it goes transparent, you want to move out of it, spacebar out of it. Save your spacebar for that. Especially if you're the aggro. You want to keep locating your party mates and trying to at least provide buff and shielding to 2 of them. If you need to change color, everyone needs to group up. Note what I did. So it's hard to tell. Like, you can't move position here. You have to wait. Like, since I'm the color change person. So what I do is Guardian Tune. If you don't have Guardian Tune, Shiny Sacred Charm. Sacred Bomb might be better since you can also apply it to yourself. Shiny Sacred Charm or Bomb or Guardian Tune. So yeah, you can just tank that electricity. And you just kill it like that. That's probably information overload, but yeah. It'll make more sense when you actually have a go at it. And it's like this radiant number is inflated because support died on the other side. Artist Run, Gate 3. Let's dive in. So same skill set, Earth card set if possible. These items, Shiny Sacred Bomb also works. If Raid Lead asks you to take Corrosive, you take that. Let's dive in. Luminary stacked up, Magic Stream stacked up. You going in. Attack buff, identity buff, dodge a bit, T-skill. Stomp into laser, stomp into laser. Put that puddle on the artillerist. So you have a gun lancer, an artillerist, and some back attacker, I think. So I'm just gonna hope that the artillerist and the other class, Glavier stack up. I'm gonna try and provide the Sunwell to at least 2 people as much as possible. Let's see. Turn, rake, center safe or sideways safe. Blue counter. I'm blue, so I'm waiting. I'm gonna try to locate a spot with 2 people. Sun sketch. We 475 line mech. Carpet. Applied. Hopper. I spacebar out to avoid that laser. Just to make sure. Seeing the artillerist greeting that. Didn't get stunned though. Probably applied Shiny Sacred Bomb to himself. Like I tend to do. Just guard. Watch your feet first. Someone tried to tank that in the front, artillerist. It is really rough as an artillerist if you're in this position. These people keep forming a Bermuda Triangle. Cleanse, because I saw the artillerist get caught there. If you saw that. So you always need to look at your party mates with the corner of your eye. I was looking at what the artillerist was doing. He's trying to greed an ability, but the 459 mech starter, he got stunned there. So cleanse immediately. Keep watching. Wide eyes. Still watching. Also, take care of yourself as well. Sun sketch. After that double counter, sun sketch, T skill, identity buff. Nice damage window. Headbutt, tornado. Safe spot. Watch it out. I have electricity. So I process immune with Hopper. I go out before I completely go out. Hopper, Starry Knight, because he was aggroed in my direction, right? So whenever you're pooping, make sure to watch what the boss is doing. Like especially this pattern here, right? He's attacking this way. It's long. It's gonna hit me. Preemptively use Starry Knight. Unfortunately, I can't protect these guys. I was pooping. Can't do everything all at once. To an extent, these DPS need to fend for themselves. Dodge, stack up at the left, wait till it fills up. I have Awakening because I saved it from earlier. So you always have to calculate so that you have Awakening available for the 425 line mech. Usually if you use it back-to-back 2 times, it'll be available here. If your party pushes really fast, you might only get to use it once. Depending on circumstances. So after the balls are all eaten, I'd applied branding from before. So I use Awakening, Sun Sketch, go inside, identity buff soon. Interestingly, my team doesn't greed even though I provided them with Awakening. I guess this was at a time when people weren't too aware about this damage greeting window. with the Awakening. It was red counter, and I'm blue, so I didn't counter. Always want to watch, make sure before you commit to countering. 400 line passed. Sun Sketch, Identity Buff. I mean, Carpet. Not a great damage window, so you don't need to provide Identity Buff for this one. Most classes can't do damage, especially Artillerist and Gunlasser have a hard time. Want to watch out for your safety first, and then look out for your teammates with the corner of your eye. On Artist, you can provide Cleanse from afar. Door of Illusion. Spacebar out. The grab pattern. 2 people there, so I provide Sunwell over there. Counter. Provide buffing, trusting my teammates with the counter. First duel. Not duelists. I try to build gauge on the ball. See what I'm doing? It's a bit of gauge. It all adds up. Sun Sketch, Identity Buff, T-Skill. I provide the door there just in case the Artillerist wants to join us quickly. So something you can do on Artists if the Duelist is on your party. And oh yeah, so in this case Artillerist had full gauge, so he just used his portal. I could have taken my balls. Awakening used, gonna be ready for reapplying Identity Buff. Sun Sketch. Identity Buff renewed. Center safe. Center safe. The center safe meaning relative to where he's looking at. Blue inside. If it's one-handed, it's blue inside. I mean, it's same color safe inside. More than 3 patterns. 3 or more patterns have elapsed, which means you're gonna lock. Stagger bar. 326 line mech, dodge, and then go in, and then go out. Don't forget to renew Luminary during this. Don't forget. And like for these ones, you don't need to like greed and like I just like tried my chances, but like if they're stuck together like that, you don't need to like eat them like that. So you might eat the wrong color. I have electricity, so I spacebar in first. I notice that my buffs are being applied properly. I wait till the poop happens. And then always note that whenever you're pooping, he's going to do patterns. He's still going to do patterns, but it's designed so that you still have time to deal with them. In this case, I poop and then immediately I can go to the safe spot. Red, both arms raised. Front is red safe. Next is blue. Blue. Now we're thinking about Supernova. Supernova happens. Sun Sketch. Don't counter. Wait for the last one. Last one. Good. It's a nice damage window after he's neutralized. Keep buffing as much as you can. Now you want to think about 275 line mech. So Pug rule is that you save Hyper Awakening and T-Skill for it on support. Blue inside safe, so I stay inside. I'm saving my T-Skill. I'm saving my Hyper Awakening. The bomb. So the bomb is when he raises his hammer upside down like that. He's about to strike the ground. This is a one shot if you get hit by the initial tick. The way to dodge this is you hold aggro, and then when it locks, you sidestep it, but the safe position is close to him. So if I'm the aggro, right, I just move up close to him. And then when he's about to strike down, the aggro is locked, I just move sideways, and then it's safe. So basically 90 degrees to him is a very safe spot like this. 90 degrees. People say that you can tank it if you are really close to him. I've seen people make it work, but at the same time, I've died to it trying it. It's kind of inconsistent. I've read the comments on Invent on this too. Some people make it work, and sometimes it's just like it's not consistent trying to just tank it by hugging him without sidestepping. So I just recommend sidestepping to be extra safe. When he raises his arms like that, want to look at his arms. This is a very important pattern to note. If it's one-handed, it means that that side is safe, but you have to move towards that. Otherwise, he does this, this, and this, and while you're sitting in there, you keep getting engaged. So it's absolutely important that you know how to deal with this pattern. Anvil. So that's why I saved my T skill and Hyper Awakening. Of course, T skill can use it kind of beforehand because it's double the timer for the Hyper Awakening buff. And the timing is when he's about to strike down on the anvil. Don't use it too early, otherwise the immunity won't last for the third one. Now in this case, someone messed up. Someone messed up, and that's why his arms are tense, raised up. He's gonna strike the hammer. So first off, you want to cleanse people if you can. They're on your party. Anyone who got caught. And then second, you need to think about just guarding. You need to just guard in his direction, not the anvil this time. If he's still raising it up, it means that a second person or more failed to do that just guard. So we keep going until everyone succeeds. Another person failed. In this case, it was my artillerist. He's too far away. You can't be standing here, otherwise you get hit by 2 hammers, and then you take death damage like that. So that's why it's very important for the support to keep their Hyper Awakening for this. Because if someone messes up, it snowballs like this. If one person gets stunned, he does the clap. If someone else fails that clap, they just got on that clap, they get stunned, he does the pattern again. He does it up to 3 times. And every time he strikes that hammer, if you're sitting in the center of that, because he aggroes on to people who are stunned, you die. Take death damage. It's the boomerang pattern, so you either stand right in front of him, or 90 degrees is also safe. And they actually nerfed this pattern, so this used to be a very narrow spot in front of him, but now they changed it. So this is like pre-nerf. This pre-nerf Mordoom. If you see here, these electrocute you, this electrocutes you. There's a very narrow spot in the center. As long as you're hugging the arrow on his head attack thing, you were safe. Now they got rid of these cones, so you don't have to be exactly in the center. Always bring him to the center. So aggro him in the center. Everyone should be grouped up in the center as much as possible. This one used to be very dangerous. So inside is unsafe. But if you get hit in the center of that, you died. If you were here. And sometimes if you were trying to dodge outwards, you would get hit by the tip of that hammer slam and you die. So the safe way to deal with this is just move sideways, just suck it up, and just get hit by this. Just don't get hit by the hammer slam. I'm not exactly sure how much damage it does post-nerf, but it's best to be safe and not get hit by that at all. Draven pattern, so try to tank it. So I'm going to draw the aggro on the side like this. So the aggro's on me, right? Which means the second one's going to be slanted slightly. But if you can see, the center is actually safe for it. And now you look at your color, blue. His color is red, means red safe inside, blue safe outside. And you want to go either completely outside or completely inside because he does a hammer slam at the end of it. And the aggro switches really quickly for that. Like in this case, right? This guy got slammed. Got staggered, so now uneven charges are okay. No more tick damage. We had one guy dead, so we all kept having uneven charges. We don't take tick damage anymore. Duel. Check it whether you're the duel. If you have the yellow circle, you just move outside. If I was over there, I'd be stacking gauge on him. I fit in a hopper for the stagger's too tight. And it's damage window. T skill identity buff. Awakening for some more bubbles. Sun sketch. Carpet. Waiting for identity buff to run out. Sunwell. Identity buff is renewed. Sun sketch. Carpet. Tiger. Hopper. Identity buff runs out. Renewed. Sunwell. Waiting for T skill. Sun sketch. T skill. Carpet. Tiger. Hopper. And then waiting for the next pattern. Sunwell. He does the color change pattern first. So if he moved his head direction over here, it means it's a guaranteed counter. Otherwise, another pattern he does often right after is laser pattern. So you need to be aware that he might do these things. So in this case, check if you have lightning, tank, process immune, the electricity skip rope, go outside, poop, go back in. The people who don't have electricity poop need to be aware that he might do counters and stuff like that. In this case of this co-op counter, he does give you a lot of time, so it's fine. Sunwell renewed, identity buff, door of illusion, 4 gauge, sun sketch, carpet, tiger, hopper, and move out, laser. Check before you write it. Check before you write it. If you write it when it's not headed your way, you're gonna die. Sun sketch. Always look at what he's doing. That's a very dangerous pattern he's doing right now. On support is fine, but like because you have a push immunity, DR. But every time you get hit by that, you can get pushed, and it does a lot of damage, and it might push you over into puddles or outside of the map so that you die. There's ways to deal with it. Basically, if in this case, he starts on the left and he does bam, 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 right? So like you'd spacebar over after he strikes this side, like you spacebar from here to here, and then you look at his aggro. Slightly left or right from it is safe from the slam, and then you enter the safe spot. Is the way to deal with it. And then he does a subsequent quick slam into laser if someone gets hit. So for those ones, you definitely want to provide shielding as support if possible. In this case, I didn't have Starry Night. Oh my god. The words don't come to me. And I didn't proc Crisis Evasion, but it looked like it. You can't always rely on the support, because their skills might be on cooldown. They might not be in a position to help you as DPS. You just need to make the right judgment call. In this case, the Gunlancer got CC'd, so I freed them. And always keep an eye out. As I'm doing this, I'm thinking about building gauge, and I'm also trying to look at my DPSs on the other side. They need cleansing. I can provide some assistance with Door of Illusion. Avoid the slam at the end of this pattern. Sun sketch, Sunwell, waiting for pattern, identity buff, T skill. It's the just guard pattern. Renew Sunwell. Watch your feet and then just guard. Sun sketch. Check your color. I'm blue, so I'm looking away. Laser. Just commit to a direction. Wait until it actually starts moving. If you ride the grappling hook there, you die. And then you're in position in case he does a counter. In this case, it was a grab, so 3 people got grabbed. You gotta be careful here. We need to free these people. Counter. You need to get a feel for when that counter happens. The window is very short. I'm phasing into mech. Red left, blue right. So there's only two possible outcomes here. If your safe spot starts on the end, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If it starts here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So bear that in mind. There's the only two possible ways. Only two possible outcomes. Same for red. If you start here, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If it starts here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Bear that in mind, because if you know this, then you know as a red side player that you can keep doing damage while moving because you know where to go. You don't need to be like wondering which is going to be the next safe spot. I have electricity, process immune. I used awakening in this case. I renew attack buff, Sunwell, and then go poop. I messed that up. You shouldn't try to dodge that from me. It's best to dodge over here. I was like, what am I doing? Thankfully, I get cleanse. That was a bad judgment call. So the usual way to dodge this is you stand over here, you move over here, and then you spacebar over the skip rope. That's the usual way to do it. Sunwall, carpet. Now we have the double hammer pattern, 200 line mech. Great damage pattern. Check your color. Think about the push, the slam push. So I tanked it using what? What did I use? Sun sketch used. Hopping over to that side. Sunwall. And then, Starry Night. I use Starry Night. And then if you have an artist or bard in your party, always think about, like, you shouldn't be here. You should be here because that is where the sonic vibration or sunwall is going to be. If your party is split, that is. Like, if everyone's over on this side, of course, you can just plant it over here. Always think, if you have artist or bard, if you're DPS, stand here. Because the artist is going to try to provide sonic vibration or sunwell to both sides. The only answer is here, okay? If your DPSs are not paying attention, just ping mad at the center. And then check your color. I'm number 8. My position is here. I'm blue. It's blue. I don't need to change color. I'm not sticking to the boss. So once the circle appears, I'm trying to get a bit of gauge on the left while also maintaining attack buff and branding, of course. You know, you don't need to be in the circle for this initial explosion, but the second one is the one that counts. Just to play it safe. You just stand there the whole time. If you want to greed damage, you can just keep being here, keep doing damage, keep doing damage, keep doing damage. First explosion happens. Now, like sometime around this, you should be in your circle. After the 200 line mech, color change, no electricity though, so everyone can just stack at the center. And keep doing damage. Your color will change, just bear that in mind. You've already staggered him once, this is the second time. This is the perfect window for finishing off a stagger bar. So, look. The laser pattern happens. You look at the stagger bar. It's about to be finished. You don't dodge. Just go all in on the stagger. All in. That cancels the laser pattern because it's a damage loss for the entire raid group. Whenever he stomps, Starry Night, dodge slightly because you don't want to get that gauge. If you're an artillerist or a gun lancer or one of those classes that when you're in a specific stance, you take half to gauge, you can just stand there, like this artillerist right here. You don't get a lot of gauge from that laser pattern if you have that trait. Now we have that pattern. So I have electricity. I'm thinking about maintaining attack buff and branding. I'm also thinking about pooping outside. You don't need to go all the way out. It's like as long as you poop somewhere in the extremities, you're fine. And then now as support, you're thinking about shielding your party. I'm hopping. Even if it means losing a bit of that attack buff. Uptime, it's more important to keep your party alive there. Counter. Double counter. Sun Sketch. Identity buff. Carpet. Starry Night. Stomp is Starry Night. Stomp is Starry Night again. Sun Sketch. Branding. And then we get the stage break pattern. I have electricity, so I move out. Sun Sketch. Carpet. Finish off. I throw a Dark Bomb. T-skill used. Now I'm probably thinking about using Stimulant. Yep. One heal ball. Because this is an Adrian window, so people will be low on health. Always important to provide healing after an Adrian window. A known Adrian window. Sun Sketch. Carpet. Sunwell. We have a Gunlancer Awakening, so it's safe. And this pattern is not dangerous. Or something else. This one. I'm not sure how long this Gunlancer Awakening will last, so I use Starry Night. Sunwell. Watch his hand. Right side safe. You can just walk it out like that. As long as his center, his aggro is dead on the center, you can just walk it out like that. So now, that's the reason why I use Stimulant. It's to save my Awakening for this pattern. Just first watch whether your side is safe with your color, red, and then you use Awakening. Sun Sketch, Carpet. You can, like, he tried to land the hammer on this side, which is why I used Carpet, so I was free from the attack. Spacebar, because he tried to attack this side. Sunwell. Always check your color, because it will keep changing because of this. The circle keeps being dealt. And then now note that if you have half gauge like this, you get a circle, right? If you are the same color as this person, as the circle, you can stand in it. If you're the opposite, then if you stand in it, you keep getting gauge. So that's what happened there. Like he's giving me gauge like this. And also it gives me damage. Stick to him. This center safe. But you need to be at a hugging distance. 45 lines left. Time I move out. Could have tanked it with Starry Night, of course. Blue on his head. I'm red, so I sidestep after the aggro is locked. Supernova. I have half gauge, unfortunately, but I can provide buffing from afar. Carpet, Sun Sketch. Identity buff art is in. Sunwell. Hop. Gauge. Identity buff. One bubble. Sun Sketch. Carpet. Check if you have the duel. He's got. You don't. I'm just doing a bit of stagger here. Nothing too crazy. Sun Sketch. Slightly move out because like that laser might hit you. Sunwell. Awakening. I'm already preparing for that failure at the end. Failure. Push immunity. You need to be applying shielding, plus you need to push immune yourself. Now, in the meanwhile, you're also keeping up those buffs. Identity buff, Sun Sketch, Carpet renewed. I mean, it's already pretty much done. T-skill, attack buff, 10 bars, 0. Balthor does 10 bars at the end. I'm looking for party mates. Try to provide care for at least 2. Dodge. Spacebar at the end because I hopped in the wrong spot. Lock the aggro and then move out. Unfortunately, everyone's spread out, creating a triangle. Now it's a rectangle. You keeps aggroing me. Sometimes it does that and just bullies one person. So check color. It's red. You're blue. You have to find the color change. Otherwise, you're going to take a lot of damage. I wasn't able to change because I got electrocuted there, unfortunately. But I'm support, so it's fine because I can just provide shielding to myself and just heal up. Your DPS, though, is going to hurt if you don't get care. Spacebar, that electricity that goes around. It's dead. GG. Gate 3, Paladin. Last but not least. So, going into this, check cards, check items, and then definitely SOJ angle for this gate. I'm a light shock lover, but for this gate, SOJ is just goated. Double counter recommended, at least for progging and learning, until you get really experienced, until you can trust your party mates more so. This is to deal with the sudden counters, the consecutive counters and such. It's nice if the supports can bring double counters. And later down the road, you can just switch to 7 yellow setup if you want to. When you're stacking up Luminary, of course, don't use God's Decree. Just save it so that you might have to use it for the first pattern that comes up. Let's go in. A lag attack buff, identity buff, T skill here, stomp. So I use God's Decree on that. You gotta make sure to not have it on cooldown for that. And of course, on Paladin, it's a hassle to fit in all 3 party members into your circle. You just have to keep note of where your party mates are and just rotate your position, while also dealing with boss patterns and keeping up your rotations, of course. Try to fit in as many people as you can. Grab on the right side. Note that for that grab, it's way bigger than you think. It's way wider. It starts here on the right side of his head attack visual. And it ends over here on the left side of the back attack visual. It's a 180 grab. You kind of have to be over here, as far as here, to not get grabbed by that. Bear in mind whether you're going to dodge it over here or here or here. Bear in mind that it's really wide. Of course, if you have deep pockets, it's great if you can raise your holy... you can increase the radius of your holy aura by speccing into alignment points. Oh, so in this case, one thing to note about these electricity things is that the visuals and the AoE don't exactly align. Sometimes there's like a trail left behind, and like in this case, I do think I ran into it. But there's cases where you really think you're not in range to get hit by them, but you still do. So take note that it's like these electricity shocks are a bit wider than you think they are, so maintain distance. So here, you just go around and keep putting in one skill, walk, one skill, walk, one skill, like that. And if you see anyone get trapped, like I just did, you want to free them using Holy Protection, Sacred Charm. Rake, center safe. I have Holy Aura active, so I'm going to try and fit in people. I'm blue, so I'm dodging. The debris on the ground is damage window. Don't counter. Always check your color before you counter, before you commit. Co-op. You just use Holy Sword preemptively for that, so you know it's going to happen. 450 line mech. Always watch where your party mates are. And the 450 line mech is counterclockwise in the center. 475 is clockwise on the center, on the inner ones. This is the issue. Like, don't try to greed too much, otherwise you get struck by lightning here. So he aggroed in my direction, right? So I use God's Decree on the first one, Spacebar on the second one. You gotta know what tools you have. I could have also used Holy Aura in order to get that push immune. I'm trying to locate people into my Holy Aura as much as possible. Spacebar over. Lightning. I don't have lightning on myself. So I can just stand in the center. 425 line mech. I have Awakening available because I saved it from earlier. Someone got caught, so I use Holy Protection immediately as I see that. And it fills, you can go walk. And you're always maintaining Luminary and Mad Stream through this. Spacebar through the first one, go eat balls. Maintaining Luminary and applying branding at the same time. Attack buff. Branding. Dodge inside. You can always use the center as dodge space. Keep taking tick damage, but so now that the balls are all eaten, all dealt with, Awakening, and it allows people to come inside in the center, in the inner circle, to do damage like this. Note that Awakening alone is not enough, so you want to provide extra protection, DR, shielding, and such on top of the Awakening if people are choosing to greed that pattern off your Awakening. Grab. So side is safe for this. Front, back, he keeps pounding. Rake, center safe, or otherwise side and back are as well. Mech, 400 line mech. Watch your teammates, watch your teammates. Check your color, blue, blue. And I'm saving Holy Aura because this is not a great damage window. Use it right after. Blessing. Co-op, great damage window. Attack buff into Holy Sword. Just so easy on Paladin. Attack buff, great damage window. Bring it back down to 375. And I have Awakening, but I'll save it because I can stack a bit of gauge here. I'll use this window here to stack up Identity. So it's available after the cinematic. An extra attack buff. So note that my position is over here, just in case this duelist on my party wants to fit in some skills while dealing with the duel. Also, the Holy Aura was kind of delayed, so like usually you'd use it at the very beginning, but since this person is dealing with the duel, they can't do damage properly, so it's I guess it's kind of fine to like start the Holy Aura a bit late, and I got to stack up a bit of gauge on top of that as well. Since I have Awakening available, I can use back-to-back Identity buff. Branding renewed, attack buff, and then Awakening, Identity buff, attack buff renewed, T skill. I just tank it with God's Decree. Nice if there's other people tanking it with you as well. Sometimes they just trust the support and just tank it there. Blue, so I move to the right. You want to be sticking to the center. Sticking close to the boss. It's been 3 patterns, so he's going to do the 326 line mech, dodge, and then spacebar in. While you're doing this, you're also trying to maintain attack buff and branding. On top of that, Luminary Mad Stream as well. Picking up balls. Maintaining branding. Attack buff. Ah, shh. I got hit by that. Nice cleanse. I can't pick this. Unfortunately, we got poop over here, but it's fine. This person over here didn't move out. So whenever color change pattern happens, you want to check whether you have the color change circle or lightning first before you commit to anything. That person realized too late, and so now we have a puddle there. Very annoying. Like the ones over here, it's fine. You rarely have to go that way, but here is exactly where we need to be standing to do damage. If you're standing in that, you keep getting tick damage. It's a lot of damage, and you keep getting gauge as well. The bomb, you sidestep it once the aggro locks. It's the safest way to deal with it. Supernova, spacebar over the puddle. Lock your counters for the last supernova charge, and then afterwards a good damage window. So I'm going to keep this awakening probably. I'm going to use hyper awakening. I'm just hoping that T-skill will be back for the 275 line mech. Boomerang is center safe. But you have to be like this is pre-nerf, so you have to be sticking right to the arrow on the head. But this was rough because we have that puddle here, so I just chose to tank it with God's Decree. I don't think I applied it to myself, but as I'm Paladin, I'm tanky enough. I'll just take the hit from the hammer. Very annoying, that puddle there. The T-skill has been used. It came back in time. And now I'm using Hyper Awakening. I do have that the bar already filled up, but like, what can you do? This is Pug rules to use Hyper Awakening here. There's a 1 bar waste, but it's worth. So if you don't draw the aggro to the sides, this is what happens. Like, it's a very rough pattern to do damage through, because this initially is process and then it's push. The first set of hammers passing by is process, followed by push from that. So you need to lead it to the sides. So best case scenario is you have someone holding the aggro on the side, which frees up the front for damage. And then you check your color. It's red, safe inside. I'm blue, I move out. And so that puddle is just so annoying right now. Lock the aggro and then move out. Now they disappear. So those puddles disappear whenever it's color change or duel. So I'm the duelist in this case. So let's see what I do. You get the duel. So this orange text indicates that I'm duel. And then you can double check by seeing you have the hammer sign on you. You need to lead the aggro towards the ball first. And meanwhile, I'm trying to stack up a bit of gauge. Using only sword on the ball. Finish up the stagger. The dual position is over here. That puddle's in the way. And provide a bit of gauge. See my position? I'm not in the circle over there. I'm standing close. The circle has now disappeared, since it disappears when the duel starts. And my DPSs adjust their positioning so that they are in the holy aura. I'm like renewing buffs and reapplying brand and stuff while dealing with the Just Guard. You can use Awakening for another identity buff. Branding, and then if he looks this way, it's a counter. He looks this way. Yep, counter. Double counter. I have electricity. So you can linger there a bit, and then you go drop the poop. You don't have to go outside immediately. So watch this part. So I use God's Decree for proximity for overcoming the skip rope. And I go poop. Like, I could have fit in one more skill if I needed to. T skill, because why not? It'll be back at the end of this pattern anyways. If anyone chooses to do damage, they get the benefit of it. Attack buff. You can greed a bit, but you have to mind that you have to keep moving towards the left if you're blue. And you have to dodge the electricity bubbles. If someone gets caught, you're using Sacred Charm, just like I just did. Someone on my party got caught there. And you also have Holy Protection, of course, if you need to provide assistance to the person on the other side. The stagger is really close, so whenever the laser happens, you want to check the stagger bar first. If it's close, you want to cancel the pattern by depleting that stagger bar. But you need the cooperation of your party mates if it's this much, right? So I didn't fully commit. If you're in a static and you're in comms, you can do that. Now it gets canceled. Always after you ride the grappling hook, you will watch out what kind of pattern he does. In this case, he stomped in my direction, so I use God's Decree to not get pushed. Attack buff renewed. Since he got staggered, nice couple seconds of damage window. I'm blue, so I'm going right side. And watch the first position. First position is here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you know where you're going. And blue, Korean pug rules is stay outside. So you don't get to do damage. But here's the nice thing. If you have SOJ, you can provide branding from afar. And attack buffs also of course. That's why SOJ is godlike here. So you can maintain branding and everything from a distance. It's very helpful in this gate. Awakening. Should have used the attack buff first before reapplying branding. Like I didn't need to use branding. So see here, awakening, identity buff. I should have used the attack buff there. I don't know why I used this. Just guard if someone gets grabbed. It's a nice damage window actually, except for the person who got grabbed. Some gun lancers do get caught on purpose to trigger that damage window. As long as you do the just guard, it's a nice couple seconds of damage. Holy Aura, and then he slams. I'm just tanking it with God's Decree in order to maintain position for this guy over here. For that Holy Aura. Great damage window. I also use Stimulant. Check position. I'm number 5 in this case. Party 2, number 1. So I'm here. I'm blue. I need to change color so I go inside. I go inside. I have color change circle. And once it's done, you can go to your position. You can greed a bit. The first explosion doesn't matter. The second one does. And then you don't get poop here, so you could just tank, process immune, and just keep doing damage here. Counter, double counter. So, a nice part about having double counters, you can deal with those all on your own. And if you're Gun Lancer, you can actually do both counters with one dash upper fire. It's kind of neat. The timing is rough, but you can technically do it. Center safe. Rake. Laser. I cancel my Holy Aura for that bit of gauge. Always you use a skill before riding the grappling hook so that you can maintain Luminary. And after you arrive, you want to renew it again. Luminary and Magic Stream. I don't have lightning. First one thing you want to check is whether you have lightning, and then second, you don't want to be in this position over here. You want to linger in the center area. And then now I'm ready to provide shielding for people. Holy protection. God's decree for good measure. And then go to your safe spot. Because you have to tank it. Red counter. I don't counter. Because I'm blue. Slam. Never. What do I call that? Table wipe. Center safe for that one. And then we have duel. I don't have the circle, so I can just like participate in the stagger. If I need to build gauge, I can always go over to that ball and fit in a few skills. Attack buff. Finish off the stagger. Identity buff activated. Waiting for T skill. Attack buff T skill. Brand. Attack buff. Brand. I'm not sure when I use stimulant, but usually I'd use it here. I'm gonna have to hope that the next 3 patterns is enough for my awakening to come back for the 70-line mech. It probably should be enough. So in this case, the right side was the raised hand. So right side is safe as long as the aggro is maintained on the center. It was kind of tight here because the aggro was slightly on the right. They chose to tank it. So what would have been better in this case if I just decided to tank it with my team? So I should have used renewed attack buff and then God's Decreed. There are definitely people who choose to tank it like that, but that can lead to a lot of damage on them. Blue, identity buff. Check the hands. Left side safe. So this time, after noticing that people are trying to tank it, I think I decided to God's Decree and tank it with them. 8 seconds left on the awakening. Kind of rough. Go to the safe spot. I use Holy Protection for the shielding. I use Awakening once it's off cooldown, and thankfully I also need to use Push Immunity anyways to deal with that hammer. See this one? I use Awakening at that exact moment. Attack buff. Branding. Yeah, people, if you got half gauge and got the circle, you need to move out behind. Let the other ones do damage. Blue left, blue right. Your color keeps changing, whether it's because you get half gauge or because of the color change circle. You need to be aware of what your color is at any given moment. Blue, blue inside. Don't want to do that. Don't want to tank that. Check the hammer, left side safe. I choose to tank it with God's Decree. With my team. This one's center safe. It might not look like it. It is. Got the stagger done. We don't even need to use Esther. Damage is good in this party. This pre-nerf. This is very good. 5 minutes left. Now, trying to group up with my team if possible, because I have to use Holy Aura once it's filled. Dodge, 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 dodge. I use T and I don't dodge it properly. Yeah, at least I have 2 people next to me so I can provide them with Holy Aura. This guy should group up over here. I tanked that a bit. Color change, although it's gonna die soon. Yeah, so good. So that was it for support commentary and Mordoom Hard. Hope that was helpful. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, follow. It was definitely a lot of information dump. I hope you find it helpful. It'll make more sense once you have done the raid. You can come back and a lot of it will make way more sense. This is Wine Blue. See you in the next video.